Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Summoners War European League. I am, of course, your host, Sam, and joining me, as always, is the almighty, the all-powerful, with that S1 damage, Seishizo.
What's up, guys? Hope you're having a good day, and we're gonna look at some crazy fireworks matches today. Are we hyped, Sam?
Yes, we are hyped. After seeing everything that happened last week in the Summoners War European League, the very first night of competition, right now we're going to be joined by a different 6 players that have also qualified for our Summoners War European League. And with that, we're going to find out a little bit later on kind of how this is going to work with them now being included as well within the whole competition. But there are 6 new faces, say.
Yep.
How do you think they're feeling, having watched last week, seeing what happened, and now it's their turn? It's their chance to shine and prove themselves in this Summoners War European League.
Well, I spoke to some of them. They're definitely excited. They definitely have been checking each other out, like what are they playing. I also saw something that was actually interesting to see. What also happened back in the days with SWC is that they play each other like pretty much off like stage like this, and then they start playing like all kinds of random units into each other because they don't want to share tactics.
Exactly. So it's about hiding those tactics, as you've just seen at the start of this like nice little explanation video for you all. I mean, you were all here last week, so you should know it right now. You're all professionals, you know exactly about the European League, but we're going to be going over 7 weeks or 6 more weeks now of the league matches where they're playing a best of 2 match against everybody. Now you get 1 point per match set that you win. So in total, you can win 2 against 1 person. And that will be put into a leaderboard where we get the top 8 that move on to the playoffs, which you can see in front of you. And later on in the playoffs, there will be different best of 5s and best of 7s even, all the way through to this grand cash prize of 10,000 euros that will be split between all of the players in terms of the winning. So there's still a lot of weeks left to go. So make sure you're always here with us at 8 o'clock on Wednesday on Seishizu's channel or on YouTube if you're joining us there. And that's everything that's going to be happening. So that is the format. And what do you think of that format then from last week, say? I mean, we saw it for the first time, this best of 2. It's something new for Europe and it's new for the whole of RTA. What do you think about it?
I definitely like it a lot, and we can see that here on the scoreboard as well, where we have a point system, and even though that, for example, Guts got 3 draws, but he's still number 4 on the leaderboard. So all of those draws and every point matters, and I think that's really a nice mindset, rather than it's like, oh, it's a best of 3 or a best of 5 or any best of whatever it could be. This is really about collecting those points, and towards the end, then it's where it's going to be those best of 5s and even a best of 7 in this format. So I definitely do like that format, and from the feedback that I heard so far from, well, the players, but also the people viewing it, everyone is loving it. I'm loving it.
Exactly, we're all loving it. And it's awesome to see, right? You can go 1 set down, but you're not out of it. You can still want to earn that extra point. And as we saw there, as you mentioned, with like a Guts, getting that 1 extra point right now might not mean a lot. But as we get further into the weeks to the end of the season, it could be the difference between you being in that 8th position to get into the playoffs or the 9th and not making it through. So every set really, really does matter in this Summoners War European League. Now, obviously, say we saw some of the players that haven't got any points on the leaderboard yet because they haven't had the chance. What do you think of these matchups today? Is there any that stands out to you that you're very excited for?
Well, we start off with a banger as well. Like, we have seen both players in the qualifiers of SWC multiple times, Rexus and against Glorious, so that's definitely a nice one. Also, both of them guildies at the moment. But I would say that we have a very nice lineup here today. I was checking out most of the matches that people have been playing around with, and they're all like very fierce competitors. So I would say all matches kind of look like something good for today.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're going to start off with a real banger of a match, to be honest, in that Glorious versus Rexas. But I think it's also interesting to see that we've got some contenders like Tito Gofflet or Sam B. Sepp, never actually made it into anything of an SWC before, and this is kind of their first chance to really taste RTA at such a high level in a competitive format other than ladder. So it could be proving to see whether they can actually bring what they've learned on ladder over the past seasons and manage to do it on one of the hardest stages that there is, or if they're going to crumble under that pressure. How do you think, say, that they might manage that? So it's going to be very different with the format and now pre-bans available. How can someone react to that who's never done it before? How did you feel when you first entered an SWC?
Well, actually, funny enough, the first SWC that I played there, at least during qualifiers, we didn't have pre-ban yet. They actually made the pre-ban rule back in 2018 SWC, and they went from qualifiers to the cup itself. And at that time, I was like, oh, this is actually a good advantage for me because I was playing against people that have multiple LD5s. And for that reason, it's actually very beneficial to have that pre-ban in. But it's also something you have to get used to.
Exactly. And here you can see our first contender of this evening. It is Glorious. Seeing all of his stats there, he's been around SWC quite a few times now, and obviously a proven player in his guild as well, AF Legends, that have obviously been guild champions as well before in the past. So a great stance that he has, great achievements in his past. What do you think of Glorious as a player, say?
I definitely think he's a very interesting player. He has a lot of LDs and he likes to use all of them. Like whether they work or not, he's gonna bring in those LDs. He brings in that Sean, he brings in that Volantis, he brings in that Tina Lang, that Seimei, the Dark Cassandra, which we don't see too much. So definitely a very interesting player to look at.
And here we have his opponent in this first matchup. Obviously, Guildies at the moment, it is Raxaz, coming in third place last year at the SWC, and with his new unit, which he got at the end of last year right there, the Kiten Dasheng. Obviously a very, very strong player as well there, say. He's been playing a total of only not so many after SWC, 991 matches in the past 2 seasons. What can we say about Rax as a player?
Raxaz is definitely an interesting one. He plays around, or he hangs around a lot with Pinkroyd, who also has the Light Monkey. The moment he pulled the Light Monkey, was actually back in Thailand during SWC of last year. He was like, why do I keep pulling the units that Pinkroyd already has? But now it's his favorite unit. So at first he was like, why did I get this one? And now he's like, I like this one. I can pull more of these.
I mean, if I had it as well, say, I would probably like it very much, let's be honest. But it is one of those units that he has been playing more with. He's still got other units that he's obviously favoured for himself and his playstyle. What can we anticipate between these two players, say, in terms of the playstyle? Is someone going to be going for that turn 1? Is somebody going to be relaxed in a turn 2? How's it going to go into this match?
I would say both players are most comfortable on their turn 1 position, and we get right away into that match. But I would definitely say turn 1 is what they both like. So that is probably something we will see contested here today.
Here we go. Will Glorious see the sun rise, or will Raxaz bring a sunset to his glory? As we find out in our League Day 2, Match 1, Set 1, Glorious versus Raxaz. And we can see right there already that turn 1 playstyle with an Escher pre-ban and the Wuntze.
Yeah, that's definitely signaling I'm banning your probably fastest unit on the field, and that more is mostly contested by both of the units or both of the players as well. Glorious right away with his own speed lead and the counter to a more right there. So we're definitely looking at a lot of those units that are AoE CC. Both of them like to play that AoE CC style, but also fast pace. So this is definitely going to be the match of who actually takes that first turn, and do you have enough control to take over the whole enemy with that first turn.
Exactly. Interesting to note for these guys, in the past 2 seasons, they've played each other a total of 26 times. Raxaz with a 54% win lead over Glorious, so he's wondering now if he can take that through into our Summoners War European League with the Kiten Dasheng and the Chunking on Raxaz, and Glorious looking to lock in there another speed lead with the Oliver and with the Water Pure Vanilla Cookie, say.
Yeah, I definitely like it that he took away his Dark Cassandra over here. Dark Cassandra has 21 speed lead, whereas Oliver has the 33. And that Water Pure Vanilla Cookie already has attack buff, so you don't really need it that much from the Cassandra. Also, none of the units on the field of Glorious scale that well with attack itself. It's like HP scaling on those units. But Raxaz, are you looking into countering this? You could drop in a Hey Gang over here. However, the TLA also kind of countered, and you still need that speed lead. So what are you dropping in? Hey Gang would not be a bad pick, I would say.
Here we go. He's got the Samath, and he's going for the Volantis, which both of these contestants do have. Straight away locking in there with a Triton as well. We are going to have a speed contest, say.
Yeah, definitely a speed contest, but I would say that I'm slightly favoring the draft of Raxaz because there's a lot more follow-up. On the side of Glorious, you might take that first turn, but then really the Oliver has to take over to win everything. And an Oliver with the Tina Lang next to each other might not be that strong, so this is going to be an interesting ban.
Here we go then. We're going through the bans right now. Let's see who they're going to take away from each other. Obviously, if they're going for that first turn, it's important that you're going to take away that speed lead or the high base speed unit. We're going for an Oliver with the ban on the 33%, and the Volantis followed up there, say. Both taking the speed leads. As we get into this right now, League Day 2, Match 1, Set 1, Glorious versus Raxaz, kicking things off for us with that Triton. Third skill is available. Can he get that pushback?
Yeah, we're definitely looking at a pushback, but we have more moving right after and the TL length following up. The units are... Ooh, that was a very good pushback. Now the big question is how many stuns do we get? Doesn't get as many stuns, but does get... or pushbacks. Can we reset this? If we reset this on the Pure Vanilla, he did reset on the Pure Vanilla, so the Monkey can actually go for a clean hit. However, it's glanced right now, so there are good odds that he would not land. But we have a skill 3 from the Changpeng, as I mentioned during the drafting phase. The team of Raxaz has a lot more control, even though it doesn't completely take the first turn. But Glorious, he took the first turn, but there's not too much follow-up going on.
No, there's nothing following up right now. Samath has got his first skill available. Can he put Glance in somewhere over on the other side of the field? Does manage to get a Despair Stun as well there, Say, with Chungpung following up now.
That was definitely a very crucial Despair Stun because the Pure Vanilla Cookie can actually land Oblivion. Because of that Oblivion, the Samath couldn't come back with the skills. When it's stunned right now, it's probably on Swift. That's definitely very beneficial for Raxus in this moment.
Here we go. Monkey has second skill available. There is Glancing on at the moment, and Triton will be taking... Oh! Gets an additional turn right there with the Monkey. Can he look to stun anyone, Say?
Oh, that's definitely a risky play. I do understand the play though, but maybe just going for skill 1 stun because you are glanced at the glancing moment. It's very unlikely that you actually land your skills. So a skill 1 can still stun, but Raxus is not out of the game yet.
No, he's not. And now Samath's still there. Has got the silence on him, so he's going to have the first skill anyway, even though, as you can see, it's on the cool time. But we saw it was on Despair, Say. So is he going to be looking for another Despair stun? Does get it with a kill.
Yeah, did get it with a kill. That's a Despair Stun you don't really need, but definitely something that kill is very useful. If this, oh, there is what you needed, that additional turn on. But that's Samath. Samath can still do a high amount of damage when it comes back. And that is something that Glorious has to take care of at some point. Do you kill it first before the attack and the HP goes up and down?
Yeah, here we go then. It's going to be crucial. If when he kills that Samath, is it going to be able to come back and do enough damage to kill the side of Glorious? Obviously, he's avoiding it at the moment, Say. Is it the smart play?
It's a dangerous play. The moment that the damage goes up, it's very tricky. But we have a Triton on the field. The Triton is the wrong element for a Samath to hit. But we have a little bit more and more chip damage coming in. The Triton is pretty tanky though, but a Chiwu is definitely not going to be able to survive and managed to sleep the wrong element on that Chiwu.
Wow. Oh, and it wasn't quite enough there to kill Say, which is probably going to give Raxus the win.
Yeah, that's definitely going to give Raxus the win. The Samath didn't even need to take the extra turn to get his passive in and still went for a victory to Raxus.
Wow, Raxus managing to take it 1-0 against Glorious in that very first set then, Say. What can we say then? The Samath was a pretty good pick. It was just annoying on the field, especially with the Despairs onto that win pure vanilla.
Yeah, I think the Despairs definitely came in the right moment, but as we talked about earlier, the follow-up from Raxus was a lot stronger. At the side of Glorious was just like, I take turn 1, I take turn 1. That was the whole idea. On the side of Raxus was like, okay, maybe if I don't take turn 1, I do have that CC. The moment I follow up, I do have that CC locked in there. I have damage locked in there. On the side of Glorious was like, okay, we have a bunch of stuff going on to go first, but afterward, not that much stuff was happening.
Yeah, it was interesting to see and how it played out there. So now we've got a new form of pre-bans, and there will be the Woundset and the Escher available for both of these players, Say. And deciding now to take out a Chungpung and a Tian Lang, maybe converting in the style of play.
Yeah, definitely changing in the style of play. Chungpung is somewhat of an interesting ban though, because, well, Glorious doesn't play it that much, but he could pick it himself. A Light Monkey, for example, Glorious could never pick. So is this a setup for Glorious where he's like, okay, I'm 100% going to be countering that Light Monkey with the playstyle I have, and therefore I don't have to ban it?
Well, let's find out. We've got more, obviously, as a first pick there. Good with his speed lead. And Raxus following up with Vanessa, the high speed lead, and obviously Escher, high base speed unit. So again, are we looking at a speed contest, Say?
Yeah, absolutely looking at speed contest. And the big question is right now, it's Glorious. Do you follow a speed contest? Are you going to drop in more speed units, maybe a segment? Maybe something else, drop in that Oliver? Or are you going to go for that turn 2, maybe drop in something along the lines of a Fire Monkey or any kind of bruiser units? No, Glorious likes to play turn 1, and we're contesting those.
We are with Chiwu and Shan, obviously renowned with Glorious' style of play. That Shan, if it can manage to make its move and get that skill 2 Squall going out a few times. Raxus now, is he going to follow it up with more speed leads, do you think, Say? Or more fast units to take that turn 1?
Well, it's definitely... Raxus is kind of looking for a semi-bruiser setup, but also still a fast setup. With that Heigang in there, with that Cigar in there, definitely a nice bruiser setup. Once again, a lot of stuff going on, even if he doesn't take that first turn. Glorious is still saying, that first turn is mine. I'm gonna add 4 strippers to the field. Isn't that, like, if he locks this in, I'm not too sure about this draft, because that would be a Shan ban, and then Glorious can just pretty much pick whatever. Let's see how that works out.
Yeah, interesting. We have got 4 strippers. I mean, it's always good to draft some strippers if you're new to RTA, if you're playing, so that you can actually do some stuff to the rest of your opponents. However, here we go now. It's obviously Raxus taking a little bit more time thinking about how he's going to answer that. What do you think would be good there, Say?
I would say something along the lines of a Diana. There's 4 units on the field with AoEs. If you just simply drop in that Diana, it's going to be a very strong unit. If you would just drop in anything that heals, a Smicer that actually does heal these days, It does give the silence, which Triton might throw back, but I definitely like that Smicer because it also gives a lot of healing these days. So definitely something with a little bit of sustain, a Raccoon or anything like that would be very strong. I would definitely say on the side of Glorious, it's going to be that ban on Sean. On the other one, I'm not too sure. Maybe the Escher, maybe the Smicer.
Here we go then. They've got 6 more seconds in order to choose that. It is going to be the Woundset and the Smicer being locked out there, say, as we're going in with the speed leads. So this is going to be an interesting one, how much can be followed up through there. As we get into League Day 2, Match 1, Set 2 between Glorious and Rexaz. Can Glory get that turn, that point back as Escher is taking the first turn, speeding up the team, say?
Yeah, definitely speeding up the team, also giving that armor break right over there. It was interesting to see where we still have the Sean on the field, but Rexaz was confident that he would take that first turn and actually is able to CC it, where it's not going to take any useful turns and just go for the victory from there.
Here we go then, as we get into it now with the Chi-Rune not managing to get any sleeps there.
And Escher's coming in with skill 3, a lot of damage coming out there, say.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of damage coming out there, and that is definitely an insta-kill on that unit, and I think Rexaz is going to follow that up with like just some more clean hits, and that's definitely something that we're going to see more of, and I'm not really sure how Glorious is going to win this round, and Glorious does agree.
There we go, straight into it, as Rexaz has managed to pull out now with a 2-0 lead against Glorious there, say. 2 huge points for him to get through into the Summoners War European League now. That puts him in the best position that he possibly could be at this stage right now. Wow. How does Glory come back from that, say, into the next matches that are going to be coming up later today for him?
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a difficult one. I would also say someone that has a very similar draft style as you, not necessarily in the units, but the similar play style of saying like, okay, I like to take that turn 1. That is a very difficult matchup for him. And then it's kind of like betting like, okay, if I can take that turn 1, I'm kind of okay. If I don't take that turn 1, it's going to be a rough match. In the first match, he had that turn 1, couldn't really follow up. In the second match, he had more follow up, but he couldn't really make it work to get that turn 1. And therefore he lost on that occasion.
Exactly. Maybe it's one of those things where obviously you're playing someone from the same guild as you. You know the playstyles inside out. You know kind of a lot about each other's accounts because you're in the same guild. You don't know quite how to necessarily come up against somebody that you know so well. Is that also an aspect to this, that they just know each other so well? And on this occasion, Rexaz has had the upper hand?
That's definitely a possibility, but I would also say that for me personally, I didn't really scrim with the people that were closest to me that much because especially if someone has like a very specific playstyle that Glorious has, you can play against that one, but to practice against another match, for example, it's kind of difficult unless you actually want to practice the matchup against the two of you together, which does happen from time to time. But yeah, I think it's definitely difficult to play against someone that you really know, like what are they using, how are they using, maybe even knowing the exact speeds and everything.
Exactly, and now we're getting into our second match right now. We're obviously seeing Nicer Smicer as one of the contestants. Obviously, being around SWC last year, managed to make it all the way through to the Europe Cup. Obvious unit there as well is Volantis, and deciding to choose his favorite runes there as the Seal runes, say. Do you think it's something that we might see then later on today with Nicer Smicer?
Yeah, I would say that it is possible to see Seal Runes. However, Seal Runes is still, in my opinion, one of those things. Like, if it activates, like, oh, it's there. And then you never really get the confirm that it actually blocked out the Despair. Or, well, blocked out the Violent Rune. Or blocked out the Revenge. Or blocked out anything, right? So for me, it feels really like, oh, it's there. And then it's like, oh, it was gone. And yeah, okay. At least I can predict that it's not going to proc. So, very interesting one to see.
Exactly, and we see his opponent here as well, which is going to be Sam B. Sepp, brand new to the whole world of competitive RTA. However, has been around on ladder for quite some time. His favorite unit there, as he said, is the Ziana, which is something that we know he does use a lot there, say, with a combination of other LDs, which are very strong. What do you think of him as a player?
I definitely think he's a very good player. He's been around in like top 30 right now. However, on the leaderboard, he can spam his comp that he really likes to use. Like all of those LDs, very nicely lined up with one another. And then if there's one unit banned out, his comp still really works. How about if there's 2 units banned out? One in the pre-ban, one in the post-ban. Is that going to mess up his comp, or does he know how to make that work? He did manage to get here, so he definitely made it work this far, but can he show that in the European League itself as well?
Exactly. It's a new format for him with the pre-ban as well in terms of competitive RTA. So it's whether or not his opponents have prepared for him against that and how he has prepared himself, right, in order to combat, obviously knowing that now 2 of his units are not going to be able to be selected from his box. It is something that he's going to have to take into account if he wants to play a certain play style, which we've seen from many a replay which we've watched. Actually, for Nisus Meiser versus Sambi Sep, the past 2 seasons say, I can't say anything. They haven't played each other in the past 2 seasons. We have no idea. And as we're getting in now to the League Day 2, we're going to be going into those pre-bans. He better not, Sam, pull those apples of his. Because we know they're all cursed apples with Nisus Meiser. As we're getting into it now with the pre-bans, obviously they're a pre-ban from Nisus Meiser of the Maximilian and the Eleanor as well, there, say.
Yeah, definitely 2 respect bans of probably the most annoying unit of the enemy to deal with. So definitely good to see. But this is the question. Is he going to go for the Chandra? Yep, we've seen him pick that Chandra. On the side of Sam, is it going to be that more +1? You could go for a more plus steal, but what Nisus Meiser does really well on ladder is he picks the Chandra, he locks in a Volantis, and then he goes for counter picks. So definitely, is he going to go on that same route right here? Sambi Sep is definitely still playing his comfortable style with that Nephthys, with that Heigang, and then he has a lot of follow potential on that.
Here we go then. He's going to be looking to potentially lock in a Meihu Wang there, say, instead. And he might follow it up as well with one of the units that you were just saying there earlier. We know he also does have back pocket picks of the Volantis as well. But right now with the Heigang on the field, what's his best play?
Ooh, definitely goes for those heavy counter picks. Like his whole matchup is going to be Chandra plus counter picks. But we have a very interesting one over there, which is the Witcher Clap Jennifer, which is water, which actually gives can't cleanse. So let's see if that actually works next to Tomoe. But on the other side, we have a very interesting unit as well, which is Mr. Crawler, which is the Wind Frankenstein 2-8.
I like this. They're testing your knowledge right now, say, of all of the units' names, which is awesome for us to then experience, because these are brand new monsters to the European League right now. Maybe not the Volantis, but definitely it's the first time we're seeing a few of these units, which is always good to see, you know, how many monsters are being selected in the current meta or the meta specific for the European League as well. And these guys are bringing that through right now. Who do you think that last pick could be from Sambi Sep?
It's definitely an interesting one. You kind of have not that many strips yet. Oh, he likes to go for a Layla, which is also a very interesting unit, which also has the anti-cleanse buff, which is definitely interesting. That means you're gonna leave that Veramos in, but on the other hand, I think that Heigang has to leave the battlefield, and if the Heigang leaves the battlefield, Volantis would have to leave the battlefield. But let's see what these gentlemen pick.
This is the mind games right now. So we know last week from when a Veramos wasn't picked and how much it ended up doing in the end as well. Obviously, there wasn't so much kind of cleanse block from the other team, but right now it is going to be the Water Yennefer band out and the Volantis band out, as we're going with both 24% speed leads. Kicking things off then in League Day 2, the first matches for both of these guys, Nisus Meiser versus Sambi Sep, with Heigang taking that first turn, say.
Heigang taking the first and getting a nice crucial stun there on that first hit, but the one that we're looking for to stun is that Veramos. The Veramos passive is very strong, however, the Veramos passive does not work if he's stunned. And we have a proc out on that Crawler right away, so that's one unit stunned. In this case, you do need that stun. You actually, well, if you go for the pushbacks, you do get the stun. Ooh. That's a very crucial stun on multiple units, and there's so many debuffs right now. Is Sambi Sep just like zooming through this whole match right now?
Let's see. It looks a little bit more like a TOA Hell kind of mode right now, so it's not like an RTA in the European League. So many stuns coming out, all of those cleanse blocks, as now Heigang's going to be taking a turn. Can he get a pushback?
Well, the interesting thing is TOA is normally based on dots. These are pretty much all debuffs in the game. Like, I think there's very few, like Oblivion is missing and an actual dot is missing. But besides that, we have everything. So that's definitely a very interesting comp to see right here. And once again, are all of these units on Despair, because we're seeing a lot of stuns coming out from Sambi Sep right now.
Wow, this is so much going on right now. I've never seen so many red parts above the units here today, as Layla keeps to be just taking so much more. Oh, wow. Is he going to even take a turn? We got Seal as well now,
We got Seal. We're just missing Oblivion and an actual dot, and then we would have to check if we're missing one or two, but I think we had everything on the field right there. We still have that Crawler on the field taking turns anytime soon, but Crawler doesn't really have any form of sustain. Cannot do the taunt right now. There's still an option where Chandra can go for the defend, and then this Crawler is doing a good amount of damage, but is it going to be enough? Because we're spreading more of those debuffs.
It feels like he's not even going to be taking a turn in the whole match there, say. It's something now he's going to have to look forward into the next match. How do you combat all of these?
Well, Sambi made this a single-player game. Like, RTA is normally a game for two, but Sambi is like, no, I'm playing this game your way, and you can try again next round.
Wow, what a baptism. This is his first time in competitive RTA there, and he hasn't allowed Nicersmice, who managed to get to a Europe Cup last year, even take a turn right now.
Yeah, it's just despair stunts on despair stunts on despair stunts. At some point, like, if 3 of your units are on despair stunts, you're denying the enemy by that many turns of also just pushbacks. It's very hard to actually get any turns in. However, I must say, this Crawler does do a good amount of damage as well.
We were saying, though, last week, there's some units which can do a 1v4. Is the Crawler one of them for you?
Well, is he Vampire? I thought I saw a little bit of life drain on there, but I wasn't too sure. But if that's the case, he's not doing too much of life drain. So, but in this position of health, I think there's very few units. He is life draining, so there is a slight chance. But I also claim too many debuffs. It's not gonna work.
Here we go. We've got another seal coming out there, as well. It's all up to this Crawler now. The more turns that he can take, if he is getting that life heal there.
Oh,
but
yeah.
is it going to be enough?
No, it's not going to be enough. Someone actually mentioned that is true. His S1 actually heals. We did see him fire proc, so he definitely does not have Vampire in there. But his skill 1 just heals by himself. But that's a little not enough. And that is the victory for Sam.
Wow, Seb coming out already then with the 1-0 against Nicersmice. Very different tech that we've seen there, and not really what we were expecting from looking at the replays of these guys as well coming into the matches. How do you think Nicersmice now combats that, knowing that Seb is going to be potentially playing that style again?
Well, I think Seb definitely prepared very well. He definitely looked at Nicersmice's matchup, and Nicersmice went for very obvious but good counters. I would definitely say those were good counters. The Crawler was maybe some not that expected, but the others were all like very good solid counters. But Seb prepared, like, okay, if he picks that, I have this one. If he picks that, I have more of those anti-cleanse things. And that just worked out very well. So we definitely have the ban on Heigang right now. And Heigang is an important unit in that whole setup. So let's see how this match will revolve around that.
Exactly, following up as well with a Volantis on the pre-ban there as well from Seb. He goes for the Maw, and now we see Nicersmice coming in with the Chandra and the Eleanor, followed very quickly by a Tian Lang and a Nephthys there as well,
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting one. Someone actually pointed out, I was wrong on the Crawler. The Crawler is the dark one. It's Crane, it's Wind. Okay. We don't see those units too often, I'm sorry. But these are familiar
we might
units.
see more now.
we do have familiar units here on the field right now. It's definitely interesting to see what we have on this. But this is definitely a comfortable setup for Seb, where he just drops in that Dark Beast Rider and then goes for the pushbacks over there. There we have it. Probably needs another pushback unit. I would definitely say that something along the lines of a Chung Peng, or maybe even a Taeor, or it goes for another stripper, as in Dark Robo.
There we go. He locks in then the Dark Robo. So it is very much a switch up in the playstyle there of Seb. And I think the main part of that was his pre-ban of the Eleanor in the last round, allowing him to kind of go through all of those cleanse blocks to not allow anything of the other side to get any of the healing back from a Veramos. Right now, Nicersmice are in a bit of a difficult position there. How do you combat this?
Yeah, definitely would say that you probably have to go for once more another passive, but then another passive that can kind of deal with everything that's on the side of Seb. He does go for the unit that he likes, Smicer.
Exactly. We know it's got the silence there available in terms of putting it on the other units, but will it even be able to take a turn there, As we're going to go into the pre-bans right now, it's going to be the Ziana and the Eleanor being banned out, and we're going for speed leads again, 24% on both sides with the Nephthys and the Chandra. Seb versus Nicersmice in our League Day 2, Match 2, Set 2. Can Nicersmice get a point on the board with Maw going up first? Doesn't quite get the stun on Chandra, and following up with Tian Lang,
Yeah, Tian Lang, the main thing that you want over here is that stun on that Veramos, but actually managed to not get anything removed from the Chandra. So Chandra can freely go for the skills, which also means that Veramos is going to go freely from the skills. We see 4 buffs on the whole side of Smicer right now. Veramos is going to make work of those pretty soon.
He is going to be taking work of the... We managed to get slows on most of the team on the other side right now. Does he have to target that damage into the Veramos then, in order to not allow any heals?
Yeah, that's definitely... If you manage to kill it, it would be good. But Veromoses are generally based on Nemesis. The moment you do more damage, it's gonna do more healing. So it's definitely going to be a hard position. We do have a Tian Lang on the other side of the field, though. We still have Glancing. Glancing actually made it that... Oh, still 2 units are stunned, though. So that's definitely not beneficial for Seb, but definitely well drafted by Nicersmice here.
Here we go then, Tian Lang coming in, has second skill available as well if he wants to do it. Goes for the first skill, trying to take out that Veramos, as we said. Just how much debuffs come onto it, it can then heal back through.
Yeah, definitely the moment that he takes out that Veramos, it's going to be very good for Seb. However, there might be a stun here on that one unit that's moving anytime soon. The sides do not go for it. I would... Ooh, okay. Oh, it's actually a violence.
Big violent additional turn there, allowing him to take out the Robo, and now it's going to be in the hands of Nicersmicer, I think they say, with silences popping out left, right, and center from Nicersmicer.
Yeah, definitely a lot of silence coming in, and this is also a very difficult position to come back from. There's just not too much going on for Sambisep right now. He can land those debuffs, but he's still struggling to actually kill that Veramos, and which is the most obtainable unit in the game, but still on a very high stage of Summoners War, a very strong unit.
Exactly. It's proven itself last week, and it has proven itself this week as well, that it's very, very strong in what it does. Obviously, allowing the heals coming through from the team. It's going to be an uphill battle now for Sambisep if he wants to get that extra point on the leaderboard. Looks like Nicersmicer might take that home.
Yeah, I definitely think Nicersmicer will take the dome. We have been talking about units that can perform a solo, but units that can perform a solo mostly need something like a self-cleanse, self-healing, and then a lot of damage output on there. These units on the field, once again, don't really represent that, and that will be the victory for Nicersmicer.
Wow, so we saw a crazy comp in the first one, as it's now confirmed. Nicersmicer won against Sambisep. They've taken a draw. They've split the points between them to get themselves an extra point on that leaderboard, which is crucial. It's the first step into the points of the leaderboard, which could make all the difference as we get further into the season, say. Now, obviously, there was a different comp that was used in the first round compared to the second set where everything kind of changed up. How do you think we might see that again?
Well, I think that's very common for like a best of two, because a best of two really enables like, okay, we have one set of style on one match and the other set of style on the other match, because the pre-ban just makes a world of difference. That Elanoa that was being able to be drafted and then also later banned out just made the comp for Sambisep a lot more difficult to lock in the way he did it in that first round. So that's definitely something that he prepared very well for the first round, that worked out very well. But then you also have that second round, which is slightly different. That's a different pre-ban. And that matchup worked a little bit less for him in this case.
Exactly, but wow, what a baptism into the world of Summoners War European League, right? Managing to come out of the blocks with a crazy comp that managed to work and surprise Nicersmicer, getting a point on the board now. He'll be feeling confident as he goes into the next matches of today. And obviously Nicersmicer, it's always nice to get a comeback. It shows that maybe now he can take some momentum into those future matches, which will be up against some other tough competition here in the Summoners War European League. As we're getting into our third match of the day, we have got Tito Gofflet, also his first ever time taking part in some competitive RTA outside of the ladder. And it's his chance to prove himself to everyone exactly why he's as strong as he is. We can see there Nikki is one of the units that he obviously likes and has, as well as a few other LDs, I say. What do you think of Tito Gofflet? Have you ever played him on ladder before?
Not too much, but an interesting thing, he also chose for Seal Runes. So Seal Runes is definitely something that some of these players do like. But is that going to work out? We did see one Seal Rune being placed, but once again, I think the unit barely took a turn afterwards as well, so I'm not entirely sure if that did too much. But definitely has a very interesting playstyle, definitely does like to play around with his LDs, Gianna, Nikki, but let's see who he plays against.
Here we are, we have Pafix then. Obviously has been last year in the Europe prelims for the SWC, very strong players. Got there his Nyx as his favourite unit, and obviously Violent being his favourite rune set. Obviously a very, very strong rune when it's used in certain circumstances, they say. What do you think about Pafix as a player?
Pafix definitely has very strong LDs. It's not just the Nyx. The Nyx is actually not that much shown in RTA. Could still be your favorite unit though for just like the whole setup. But will he actually use? I'm not too sure. He has that Julian. The Julian of him is definitely very strong. He has that Tian Leng. He definitely has like a bunch of other units that he likes to play around with. And those are very strong. Also recently buffed the Kavachi, which is a very strong unit paired with that Julian. So let's see if he locks those in, or maybe he surprises us with the Nyx comp.
Exactly. Well, we saw a surprising comp can work in the form of Sambisep. Let's see if Pafix has got anything up his sleeve for the matches today. Or will they be playing something a little bit more regular, what they're playing on ladder, in order to try and secure those victories. We've got now Tito Gofflet versus Pafix in our match 3. These guys have actually played each other a total of 16 times over the past 2 seasons, with Tito Gofflet having a 63% win rate there overall, say. So he's going to be in favor as we get into this match today. Tito Gofflet, can he fix it? Tito Gofflet, maybe he can. As we find out, let's go into League Day 2, Match 3, Set 1. Tito Gofflet versus Pafix. Pre-bans coming in there, say, of Julian and Nikki. So some very favored, strong units at the moment that are being pre-banned. What do we think that might mean for the rest of this match?
Yeah, I definitely do think that those are the most comfortable units that they like to play around with all the time. Pafix likes to play the style of Sagar, which Tito with the Chandra is also kind of showing, but he also goes back to the comp that the winner of SWC last year made very popular, the Chandra in combination with the Segment. He also used it back then together with a Charlotte, but I'm not entirely sure if that will be locked in by Tito here as well.
Let's see, he's got a few more seconds. So he was quite quick on locking in that Segment, obviously, as an answer for the Sagar, trying to get some cool times with that third skill. Let's see who he decides to follow it up with. He does have quite a large box, and there is there the Ragdoll, say.
Yeah, the Ragdoll's on the field, but Pafix has that Tian Lang, and Tian Lang is a super hard counter into that Ragdoll. If you know you're playing an enemy that has a Tian Lang, locking in that Ragdoll this early means like, okay, I probably have to face the Tian Lang and ban it. So is Tito already prepared for that? Plus, he doesn't see the final unit of Pafix yet. So was that the right time for a Ragdoll or not?
Exactly, especially to note his quote of the actual tournament as well was, you know, you pick 4 units so you can ban out the last one. In this case right now, we've seen the Smite, so we've got a Gianna and a Veramos on the field. Is he going to be taking that last ban from his own words, say?
Well, I would say that the Veramos is kind of a must ban, but so is that Tian Lang. On the other side, I think the Gianna probably leaves the field, and we're going to see how that bruises out. Smicer now has healing as well. Before, I wouldn't say that that's that strong of a setup, but since the Smicer has healing, I would say it's pretty legit. But we still have that Tian Lang plus that Riley. Let's see how that goes.
Here we go. Then it is Tito Gofflet versus Pafix in our League Day 2 Match 3. Set number 1 there, say. Sekhmet is going to be taking that first turn. Can she land the cool times, say? And going for the Sagar resisted, say.
Oh, resisted. That's such a bad timing. That's always so sad to see from the Segment that doesn't land. Must give credits to Tito for having pretty fast unit where the Chandra actually outspeeds the whole team of Pafix as well. But here we go with Pafix taking over that match. We do have the Smicer moving after this, but we have Sagar with all skills up. You can land that bomb, you can land that stun, but we have a Riley that might cleanse one of those two.
Exactly, Riley being on the field to try and... Oh, resisted anyway, say. Huge! Is Pafix on full resistance?
Yeah, it could be full resistance, or it could be Tito's not like his off day. That could be a thing. Like at this point, you're just feeling like, Could there be like no accuracy on the Smicer? I would recommend that accuracy is on Smicer in general phases, so I would say slightly unlucky on that one.
And here we go. So now there is turns coming out. Managing to get the stun on the Scar, but it's getting the additional turn out. Silence is crucial so he can't get skills off. But Riley is going to be able to put attack buff or immunity onto the rest of the field. Even that additional turn isn't going to be doing too much damage, say.
Yeah, let's see if Tito can make a great comeback on this one. It's going to be very much an uphill battle, especially with that immunity on the field all the time. Can we go for it right now? We do land it this time, and we also take the immunity. However, we have that armor break. That's gonna hurt.
It is going to hurt. And obviously, Smicer taking more turns, managing to get the silences over on the side of Pafix, not allowing that Sagar to get any of the skills off right now, say.
Yeah, definitely difficult to get those skills off, but there's still a lot of recovery going on with that Riley. And the Tian Lang is taking extra turns because anytime you crit something, Ragdoll gets attack bar increase on the whole team. Therefore, Tian Lang gets a lot of attack bar in the whole team. And that's just adding up so much damage that this Tian Lang is stacking up over time, which is just gonna kill.
It is, and now Sagar does have second skill available. Going in not quite enough there to kill the Segment, allowing defense breaks on the other side of the field, say.
We have defense breaks across the field. All 4 units have defense break. If Tito wants to make it work, this is the moment. During defense breaks, you can do so much more damage. We even have a bomb on that Riley right now. If you can get some good hits off right now, you might actually take a unit down.
Will that skill 3 be enough damage? Maybe deciding to use... Goes for it. Gets 2 stuns as well,
gets
say.
3 stuns.
3.
Even 2 stuns off Element. That is great. He gets that additional turn. It's going to be the comeback for Tito. Tito was very unlucky at the start of the match, but then got those right skills off in the right moment. That is why you know, you don't leave games. You just keep on playing. You might get your comeback moment with like a perfect armor break cycling. That's why you do your R5. That's where you get a little bit extra HP. Well, there you miss your bombs, but the match is over.
Exactly. There was so much resistance against Tito Gofflet as he started this match right now, and it's come back to proven that in the end the comp worked. He's managed to get through. There was some huge stuns there, say, as Tito Gofflet confirms his first point in the Summoners War European League against Pafix, say.
Yeah.
Wow, what a turnaround.
Yeah, what a turnaround, but also very well played. That's also the thing what you would say, like, okay, keep your calm, look at your matches, look at your opportunities, play well, and maybe you get an opportunity at some moment for your Chandra to say, I want to win this match. And Chandra won that match.
Chandra came in and dominated there, say. As now, obviously, we're going into the second set where Pafix is going to be looking to regain a point onto that leaderboard. Tito Gofflet 1-0 up as we've got pre-bans now of the Tian Lang. Obviously, it was doing some very good work on the side of Pafix, but Ragdoll's comp managed to get through it, and the Gianna ban there, say.
Yeah, Gianna ban is definitely an interesting one. It's not really the most meta unit out there right now, but it's definitely a strong unit if it's having that good runes and is based in the 5th pick. Let's see what Tito likes to answer to being picked his favorite unit right now that actually won him the game.
Exactly. The Chandra has been stolen by Pafix. I think that's a massive respect pick right there. Not wanting to deal with it on the side of Tito and taking it for his own play as well. We've got Tito locking in right now. Vanessa, obviously the speed lead, and a very early Diana pick there, say.
Yeah, that's definitely a very early Diana pick. I would also say that the Vanessa is more of a steal because Vanessa is very strong paired with that Julian. And then the Diana is a very early counter pick. But is that maybe too early? Or is that just very strong with a Nikki boost of attack buff?
Well, it seems like Tito heard you because he's got the Nikki right now. Obviously, his favorite unit from what we saw in his video prior to this. Potentially, what could he look to partner this up with, say, to take it as another 2-0?
Yeah, definitely would have to say, like, okay, do you go more heavy in damage or do you add some protection from this side? Because it's still a bruiser match. We go for a Kinky. Recently nerfed match. It's not as strong on the counts anymore. But if you use it offensively on his own skill too, still does a lot of damage.
Wow, and Pafix deciding there as well for the Kovaci there, say. A unit we were speaking about earlier as well that he's going to potentially use. Could be used very well with the Julian, obviously, right now. Who do you think he might look to use in the last pick there?
I would definitely say he has to go for damage, because in this draft, if he doesn't lock in damage in that last slot, it's a very easy ban on the Julian. And I think Tito is probably looking at that like, okay, your draft is not that scary. If he locks in a Varamos right now, I think it will be very clean pick. But he goes for the Cigar, goes more damage on himself, but I would still say that the Julian is probably banned over here.
Here we go, and let's see if they actually go for those bans that you were suggesting there. Say, obviously, Julian with a lot of damage. We've got first time, I think, double Puppeteers as well in the Summoners War European League. So interesting to see how that combination might work as we get in to the match 3, set 2 later on. Deciding a little bit longer for these bans, obviously. Some of those picks weren't necessarily thought of by the other players. Who is it going to be? It is going to be the Nikki and the Kovaci band out there, say, with speed leads for both of these guys going into match 3, set 2. Tito Gofflet 1-up against Pafix. Let's see if he can turn this around and make a comeback. His Sekhmet, can it land on that first time, say? Let's see. Going for it, gets the cool time.
Yeah, definitely gets the cooldown. It's also a little bit easy to land if the unit is already off will. Because if it's on will, you first have to strip it and then you go for the reset check. In this case, not necessary, but we have an additional turn on that Cigar, getting his second skill up already.
Here we go. Then he's got the defense break and obviously the provoke there on the Smicer. He's deciding then to try and hit the segment. Glancing, obviously not getting there off the off element. And now Chandra coming up with skill 3, puts out 2 slows.
Yeah, those slows definitely help. But in this case, what is the main damage? Ooh, gets a double resistance on that potential stun over there. Diana can freely go for cycling right now. Would you hit the unit that's armor broken? Does hit the unit that's armor broken. Goes for a potential getting stunned. Did not get stunned and did a lot of damage.
Here we go. Can Diana? No additional turn for Diana right now. But Kinky with Seal as well there, say.
A Kinky that's on Seal. That's very interesting. It does have the counter, so it gets that extra hit in to have a chance to get Seals applied. Definitely an interesting one. But in this case, Seal also didn't do too much because the unit was already dead.
It was already dead, but we saw it at least, say. Diana using to put up the shields, protect a little bit longer the rest of the team, obviously, against that damage from a Julian. Any additional turn could do a lot of damage. Vanessa skill 1 lands the cool time as well there, say.
Yeah, that cooltime is definitely crucial. Sekhmet definitely, it did land a very good arm break and a very good stunner on that Diana from the side of that Chandra. This is definitely the moment. Oh, we got a good additional turn that does a lot of damage. But now, Julian, you have your big damage skill up. Can you instantly kill it? Good damage, but also a very strong shield.
Yeah, and we know right now on the side of Pafix, the moment the HP of that Chandra is going down, Julian is prone to being killed as well there, say. So can he stop the turns coming in against him?
Probably not. We have probably just a few more hits going into, well, either of the 2 units, and they're soonly going to leave the battlefield. We cannot go for change right now, but just a skill 1 still does a lot of damage on an armor break.
It really does, and Vanessa now has that chance going for into the Julian, but it looks like an uphill battle, to be honest, right now, say. So Pafix going 2-0 down.
Yeah, that's definitely a 2-0, and that is the victory for Tito.
And we have it confirmed there, guys. Tito Gofflet managing to take 2 points against Pafix. It is his debut in competitive RTA outside of the ladder, and he's managed to take home those 2 points. Are huge for him right now in the confidence. Where did it go wrong for Pafix?
I would say on that second draft, it felt a little bit of, yeah, there was not too much protection for his Julian, and the normal protection is actually based off that Vanessa. But in this case, he went for the Chandra steal, which is a very respectable steal. But therefore, also your whole comp kind of flips around, because normally you have that armor break setup from that Vanessa into a Julian, you do heavy damage, and you make that match very fast in a 3 against 4. In this case, it took too long for that to happen, and therefore there was just not much going on the first few turns of Pafix, and that kind of lost him the game, I think.
It did, and you can see right now he's currently sat 2-0 down, which probably keeps him somewhere at the bottom of the leaderboard as well for right now. He has 2 more matches still to play today, so obviously there's many points still available for him, up to 4 if he can get all of the set wins, but he's going to be coming up against some other players that have already played today as well. It's all going to be about momentum, say, as we get into this for the next matches. Obviously, we've still got plenty more matches for everyone that's watching right now. Make sure you're letting us know in the chat how you think it's going, how you think some of the players are going to be developing. If you've got any favorites, let us know. We want to hear everything. We're always here every Wednesday starting on the Summoners War European League. Wow, say, what are first 3 matches? Any standouts for you?
Well, I would definitely say that first match of Zambi Sap. I've never, I played a lot of RTA matches throughout, my whole career, I would say. I've never seen that many debuffs on the field. That was really insane.
It was crazy insane. And don't go anywhere, guys. We're going to go for a quick 5-minute break, and we'll see you very soon. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Summoners War European League with myself, still Sam, and obviously Seishizu. We hope you've been enjoying all of the matches that have been happening so far, and obviously we've got plenty more for all of you. I saw some people asking, obviously, what is this Summoners War European League? We've got the best players in Europe right now playing in a league format. Here you can see the 6 players that are playing today, and we have another 6 which are also playing last week, I should say, even on a Wednesday at 8 o'clock, because that's where we're always here. We're going through some of these matches now. We've seen some crazy plays already from the likes of Sambi Sepp there with his first comp, and he's going to be going up in our next match there, say, as well. Wow, what a second week into the Summoners War European League. How are you finding it?
Yeah, definitely very great. Once again, loving that best of 2 format where you see 2 different or very different matches pretty much by all players. Where you have like, okay, in the first match, this unit is strong, therefore I steal it in the second match, but then, oh wait, my comp doesn't really revolve around that. And that is definitely cool to see where you have 2 very different dynamic of matches between like those 2 players every time.
Exactly. They have to figure things out on the spot, adapt, be ready for the next match. Exactly. Or not even the next match, the next set against the same opponent. The pre-bans are coming in. The bans are coming in. How have you formulated? How have you taken the time to discover what's going to beat your enemy in this Summoners War European League? Because it is a best of 2 and every point counts. Every set that you win is an extra point on that leaderboard, which could come to your favor as we get into the future weeks. You want to be in that top 8 to make sure you get yourself into the playoffs and potentially can win that cash prize of 10,000 euros between our players. Something that all of them will definitely be wanting to do right now. And probably a few of you who are the other players are probably watching right now, seeing what these guys are doing. Get ready for next week because they're going to be coming and facing you guys as well. And you better be prepared, as we've seen there from already some of these crazy plays. Here we go then. Say Glorious versus Sambi Sepp is going to be our next match. We saw obviously that Sambi Sepp got a 1-1 against Nicer. Glorious coming out of the gates not so hot with a 2-0 loss against Raxaz. How do you think he's feeling going into this match right now?
I definitely think that Raxaz was probably the one that he didn't want to face the most. And in this case, it's also going to see like, okay, how can he then perform against Sambi Sepp, which has a very different playstyle. It definitely has a very strong playstyle that if you give him turns at the moment that he does what he wants to do, you're still kind of playing like similar as in Raxaz. However, Raxaz is really hard speed contesting. So let's see how that works out between those 2 players.
Here we are. Glory days. Well, they'll pass by unless you Sambi stop them. As we're going into our match 4, set number 1, Glorious versus Sambi. 3 bans are already in there, say, of an next at Lang. Glorious very quick to lock in again that more unit.
Yeah, Moore is definitely an interesting one that kind of locks out the favorable picks of speed lead for Sambi Sepp because he likes that Neftis, he likes that Moore, and then he likes that Maximilian. But Maximilian doesn't really fit unless you go hard contesting forward, but Maximilian is hard countered by being outsped, and Glorious is all known for speed, so Glorious is probably gonna lock in more of those speed units with speed leads. Definitely a very fast unit and a speed lead right there.
Exactly, locking those 2 in with the Chiwu and the Shadowcaster Fire. I think if it's Ren in my head right now, say, you've nodded, so I've got it right, nice. And he's going to be following up on the side of Sambi Sepp there, looking for the Heigang, obviously to counter any of those strips on the side of Glorious. What do you think he could follow that up with, say?
Yeah, it's definitely the thing, like, Heigang, I like that pick, but then the next pick is gonna say, like, how are you gonna lock into that? And seeing the Glorious picks locking in that fast, he expected that Maximilian, because that is the last speed lead, except for an Oliver, that Sambi Sepp can normally take. So I definitely do like the picks from Glorious in this position, and I'm not entirely sure what Sambi Sepp can lock in to make it difficult on the side of Glorious.
Glorious locking in that Wunsa and a Sonya. Obviously a lot of damage available for that Sonya. Maybe Sambi Sepp is prepared and he's got enough defense on some of his units, say. Let's find out as we go into it. He's obviously picking, it's taking a little bit longer now to pick what that answer could be. Looking at a Rika there, say, obviously trying to see no immunity on the side of Glorious.
Yeah, Rika's definitely an interesting one. However, there's 3 strippers on the side of Glorious. You could make it -1 and still have 2, but that is going to be difficult. What he could be playing around with is saying like, okay, maybe you don't have enough follow-up. Because Glorious, once again, has shown, maybe he doesn't have enough follow-up. But a Wunsa into a Ren, what we're going to see here on the field, is still very strong.
Here we go then. Speed leads locked in on both sides of Glorious. Sambi Sepp. It is our match number 4 of the Summoners War European League. Glorious versus Sambi Sepp. Wunsa is going to be going first there, say. Manages to get obviously all the strips straight into that Zen.
Yeah, we have the Ren going in there, and it's full AoE, absorb attack bar, and then also placing those silences. This match is pretty much already over pretty fast. And that's what you sometimes have at those very hard speed contesting comps where you say like, okay, if everything lands, if I take the right turns, if I land all of my skills, the enemy is gonna have 1, 2, or even 3 units less on the battlefield. And coming back from that moment is going to be very difficult.
Yeah, it's a very hard battle when everything lands on the side there of Glorious. Very well played. Obviously knew he was going to outspeed and managed to make the most of that there, say. Even getting a sleep to add to it.
Yeah, that sleep was not really necessary in this case. Let's add another sleep on the other unit. Doesn't want to add another sleep on another unit. However, yeah, this was definitely very well played. And that's also the thing that MBSep has to look at, like, okay, the opponent is very fast. Am I going to play that speed game against him? Or can I bend something out that he can't play the speed game? But Glory has a lot of speed units, a lot of speed runes. And that gave him this victory.
Glorious has got 1 point now in the Summoners War European League. It is his first SamBSep falling with 0. Obviously, the speed contest managed to come through for Glorious, getting everything, and did have the follow-up this time, say. We were saying against Raxas he didn't, and he brought it there against SamBSep. Right now, we're going into those pre-bans. What are you expecting from pre-bans from these guys now?
I definitely think something along speed leads. Yep. Something along speed leads or LDs. Those are kind of the things that's the second choice, but speed leads definitely makes sense. In this case, SamBSep has a first pick. He could have stolen that more, so I'm not entirely sure what he's gonna go on that first pick right now, because first pick is often used for a steal. In this case, it's pre-banned already, so he goes for Neftis in this case.
So it's pre-banned in that first set. Now he's got the opportunity to use it. The SamBSep. Does that mean, though, that Glorious is prepared for this, knowing that he was going to pre-ban it in the first set, and obviously now knowing it is available on the field for SamBSep? Does he have an answer for it? He's going in there with the Dark Cassandra and a Shan there, say.
Dark Cassandra and Shan definitely shows a lot of damage, definitely something you don't really like to turn 2 into. So SamBSep is probably going to look into once again going for that Asher, but he does know that that Asher is going to be outsped by both a Wunsa on the same speed lead and that Ren on the same speed lead. So it's a difficult one to draft in. You could go for an early Heigang, that's definitely an option, but it's really depending if you want to go for that CC comp that he really likes. Like at what point do you draft it in? He actually goes for units we haven't seen too much from him. A Triton and a Wadjet.
Yeah, Wedgeat and Triton, they're coming out. So obviously still going for that speed contest. Wunsa locked in potentially for Glorious as well, and going in with his own speed lead of a 33% there. So we saw the importance of the speed leads. He was very, very fast. How does SamBSep answer?
I definitely like the draft of SamBSep to a certain degree. He has to drop in another stripper, and then he has to drop in another follow-up unit. That's the only way you get enough damage. Sienna's definitely good for that. But Glorious has to lock in another speed lead, but a speed lead that's fast. Or not necessarily speed lead, a stripper. But a stripper that's fast. But the Chiwu is out of the field. The Triton is already picked. Pretty much all of the strippers that are normally fast are already out of the field. If that Triton is on Will, oh, he goes for a pure vanilla cookie. But where are your strips then, Glorious, if your Wunsa gets banned? Let's see if he locks it in.
This is the mind games right now, obviously, with them. Maybe hurt himself with pre-banning out a more there. The Water Pure Vanilla Cookie has been locked in, say. Do we think speed leads might be taken out? It's only time will tell in terms of 20 seconds for these guys to figure out exactly how they're going to combat each other in this match right now. Who do you think's been banned, say?
I would say Wunsa and Triton, because the Robo is not a great stripper into the Pure Vanilla Cookie, and the Pure Vanilla Cookie might move first. So we're gonna see Robo potentially struggle to strip all of those debuffs.
Here we are then. Speed leads locked in on both sides. Glorious with the 33 compared to the Neftis 24 on SamBSep. Getting into match 4, set 2. Glorious versus SamBSep. That cookie does go first, say, but Wedgeat is going to follow up.
Wedgeat does follow up, and we have a wrong turn order. It was actually a Nem Trap on that Robo. And a Robo that's a Nem Trap does not take a turn before those units. So in this case, you should have actually banned differently. And that is not going to be favorable for SamBSep in this case.
The mind games have worked. We've got a Despair Oliver getting a stun out there on the Wedgeat. Obviously, the Dark Cassandra now has opportunities to put up the Endure, and the attack buff, say, going to be huge to get any kills coming up later down the line.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be huge, and this is definitely a difficult position for SamBSep. There's a lot of buffs on the enemy side. We have the Dark Cassandra moving soon, which is a S2 ignore defense. Lots of damage coming in. We do have the anti-crit on the enemy side, but is it going to work? Does not work. Gets the crit of 48k. Takes out the Nefty. Second hit. Not enough damage to take that Sienna. Very tanky Sienna. However, this Sienna is still stunned and she can't do all too much at this position.
No, I think once that Ziana is demounted from the Beast, it's going to be very much, again, an uphill battle for SamBSep to get back through this. And Oliver has free reign to do as many resets as he wants, say.
Yeah, definitely with Oliver, and this is definitely the draft that Glorious was looking for. He takes that first turn. Well, in this case, he didn't get interrupted, but he has that follow-up, and that follow-up is always very important. It's not just about having all of those strippers on the field, it's about having that follow-up. It's about being able to kill the units on the enemy side. And in this case, the units from Glorious were very well able to do that.
They were. Now Pure Vanilla Cookie is managing to put up again more immunity and attack buff. Shan's going to be cycling very soon, say, into another skill 2.
Yeah, that skill 2 is definitely going to take out one of the 2 units, and then he's probably just waiting until he gets another skill 2 up, and that's going to take out that last unit. And I think that's what we're going to be looking at. That Squall, so much damage, 35k. We get an additional turn, just one more turn, but Sambiceps knows he lost this round, and that's a 2-0 for Glorious.
2-0 for Glorious. So going 2-0 earlier in the day against him, now managing to turn things around against Sam Bicepse. Maybe he was listening in and hearing what you're saying. He did have the follow-up this time to make things happen. Maybe Sam Biceps unlucky with that Nem Trap on the Robo, but Glory can now take that confidence into the next matches, right?
Yeah, definitely. I would say if you lock in a Nem Trap, it's very important that you also, yeah, it's kind of the mind game of like, okay, I expect you to ban out that Robo. But in this matchup that we had, I don't really think that you could expect the Robo to be banned out, because the Pure Vanilla Cookie, I actually definitely like the placement of it. Because even if the Robo moved right now, it would have to go through 4 buffs before it actually pushes back anything. Because a Robo actually only pushes back when there's 0 buffs. That's not possible for a Robo. He has like 3 hits. So, and also its activation rate is not that high. So even if the Robo was in the right tuning, I think the Pure Vanilla Cookie was actually very interestingly well placed, where it would have been a lot of struggle for the Robo to actually strip anything and then provide any of that follow-up.
Exactly. That's what you want a last pick to do, right? To completely shift things for your opponent. You make sure that you give them a hell of a lot of problems as they're going into that set. And it obviously worked there for Glorious as he manages to take 2 points. They're going to be huge in terms of the leaderboard for him to get 2 points against all of the other opponents that played last week and the ones that have not got a point so far on the leaderboard. It is something that he is going to be very happy with himself. As we're going to be going now into our match number 5 very soon between Tito Gofflet and Rax, as they say. So we know that both of them do have points at the moment in the Summoners War European League. What do you think of this matchup?
So I would definitely say that Raxus is going to go for his comfortable speed chasing, like speed chasing taking that first turn. However, Tito has shown that he plays very comfortably on that turn 2 as well. He has that Veramos in there that worked out very well for him. Nikki is also still kind of a strong turn 2 unit because you have that skill 2, AoE cleanse, lots of healing going on there. So it's definitely going to be, I think, a match of like one player heavily focusing turn 1 and the other player saying like, okay, you can probably have the turn 1 and then we see how that goes.
Apparently I was wrong. It's Nice Smicer versus Pafix. I like that. Misread, guys. But these guys as well, it's a different type of format anyway. Will Smicer have him by the strings, or might somebody be able to fix that? As we're going in now instead to Nicer Smicer versus Pafix, which is actually our match 5, set 1 between League Day 2 of these 2 opponents. We have got pre-bans coming in there, say, of Julian and Eleanor.
So in this case, I think we're going to look at the double bruiser matchup. It's totally fine. It happens to the best of us. But in this case, I think we're definitely going to look at a bruiser matchup. And I think the most contested unit is going to be that Cigar and the Chandra. So those are definitely going to be early units that are locked in, because both of the players like to play around with those. So let's see. Well, they definitely lock those in. But let's see what other kind of bruisers do they pair it with.
Here we go then. We have got the Chandra and the Cigar. Sorry, guys, for that one. Misread. But that match is still getting ready to come. So I hope you're excited and you tune in for that one also. We have the Kavachi there locked in, say, on the side of Pafix.
Yeah, the Kavachi is somewhat early, I would say. It has that immunity. It has like a whole bunch of things going on. But it's more of a counter pick than an early pick, I would say. Plus, the Julian is already off the field. So you want to pair an attack buff with a unit that does a lot of single target damage or AoE damage. What are those units going to be? And Nice Smicer is saying, like, I'm going to take a lot of turns with that Vertihill.
He is, but maybe that's a good answer right there, saying the Tian Lang, obviously getting any of that attack bar that Vertihill will be doing from his passive. Just to let you guys know, these guys haven't played each other in the past 2 seasons, so we have nothing to go off. This match is going to be the first one in the past 2 seasons to figure out who is stronger. Mei Huan locked in.
Mei Huan definitely a strong pick in that whole bruiser fight that we're looking at right now. However, neither of the 2 players has shown a lot of supports or like healing particularly. We do have the Kavachi with some healing on the field, but that's the only healer on the field so far. Going into a segment, but are you going to bring more bruiser style? Because this is very heavy bruiser style without healers, which is interesting.
It is interesting. We've seen Sekhmet today working in the hands of certain people and not others. Following up there with a Wusa, obviously with the immunity. Chow picks, eh?
Chow pick, definitely an interesting one. I think with the Chow pick, it is one of those units you expected to solo. We have been talking about units that go for the 1v4. Chow is one that could do it, but often he kind of feels short on it, that he still, like, he cleanses off debuffs, but he still, if there's too many debuffs, he still can't really do too much. So let's see if Chow makes it to the battlefield, and let's see if he can actually perform a 1v4 potentially.
Here we go. We've got Tian Langband out and Wusa, so Chow is going to be going to the battlefield. Wow. First time I think I've seen a Chow in this one. Speed lead coming in from the side of Nisus Meiser. Pafix with Kavachi with the attack lead. As we're going into match 5, set 1. Nisus Meiser versus Pafix. Sekhmet going in. Third skill, will she land the cool time, say, if it's maybe going in for the Kavachi or the Cigar? Kavachi resisted.
Kavachi and resisted, but we have a chance for a provoke here. We have a chance for a Despair Stun. We go for a lot of Despair Stuns. That was a very high value skill of that Volantis right there.
Yeah, and also Chandra managing to follow up with some slows on the side there as well, allowing Verdahill to push up his team and get some more turns out there, say.
Let's see. Oh, Chow did actually cleanse the right buffs, but he's gonna do some damage right now. But it's not really that much. He kind of needs a lot more units dead, unfortunately enough, to do more damage on that Justice. But I think we're gonna get to that point where he can do more damage because some units might die. Interesting fact though, Justice, which is the skill 2 of a Chow, goes through the defense of Chandra. So it's still possible to kill that Sekhmet on this point.
Interesting to find out right now. So it's not actually safe, the Sekhmet. Going for the skill on the Mei Huang, gets the cool time as well to not allow the defense breaks coming out, even though it has Glancing say. Volantis doing a lot of chip damage through this match.
Yeah, the Volantis is definitely doing a lot of work here, and it was a good shot of trying to get that stun on the Volantis because that's just checking which unit does the most. However, only the Justice does damage through that defense. The skill 1 of the Chow will not, so Chow needs 2 more turns to actually take down the Sekhmet, which is probably not going to happen anytime soon.
It's probably not, and right now I think the monkey dies potentially to the dot as well, and it does, allowing two units on the field still there, say, but can a Kavachi and Chow do this?
Oh, we do get a very good proc over here. We can go for a skill 3, but is that going to provide enough? We do not have a Justice up on the Chow right now, and Chow can only cleanse 2 debuffs, so it might be that he continues being stunned.
It is. He's putting a bit more damage into the Chow, obviously, to try and get it a little bit further down there, say. And the Hug as well is going to be coming back on the defend of Sekhmet. Chandra allowing... Do you go for the kill, say?
I would go for the kill and actually manage to still get stunned, but we can boost up right now. If we boost up right now and he would get a turn, he does have his cooldown up because Kavachi's skill 2 also lowers cooldown. But we have a strip over here, and that strip is going to put the glancing once again on that Chow.
It is, and Sekhmet right now has that. Does get the cool time as well, allowing it to be safe a little bit longer.
Yeah, and the Chow is just being pointed out. It definitely needs a violent proc over here. Gets the violent proc, can take out the Sekhmet. Are we going for the revenge story? 4 against 1? Or is this Chow not gonna take it?
Wow, Chow. It is your time to shine, my friend. Stunned with some dots, let's say, but is it gonna be able to heal through?
It can heal a bit through, but that's slow, and then also the boost up from the Verdahill. Sure, Verdahill has issues critting on that unit, but the dots definitely add up at some point. We get all of that chip damage in. Once again, we can only cleanse 2 debuffs, so there's good odds that this unit is not gonna take a turn right now.
It is not going to take a turn, but it is still living. It's got a little bit of health right there now, say. Is it going to be enough?
It's going to be very difficult. We need another additional turn. Does not get the additional turn at that moment, and I think that will take him out. Also, the slow, Chow needs to get his turns. If Chow is slowed constantly, it's very difficult to get his turns in, and therefore do too much. In this case, the Chandra made that work, and that is the victory for Nisus Meiser.
Wow, Nicer Smicer coming out with a very nicer play right there with a 1-0 against Pafix as we go into it. First time that we've seen a Chow in the Summoners War European League there, say. Actually used to quite some good effect, but obviously you were mentioning the slows against the Chow right there. Not being able to take turns and heal was something that really kind of hurt Pafix in the end, not being able to take enough turns. How do you think he combats this into the next set?
Let's see what they go for the next set. Once again, in this case, we have the first pick towards Pafix. So if they're both contesting that Chandra will end up on the side of Pafix. However, we have seen it before that Pafix kind of likes that Vanessa as well to pair with his Julian. In this case, it might be that the Vanessa is already stolen by Nisus Meiser together with that Cigar that they both like.
It is. It seems like stealing units is the way that this league day is happening in the Summoners War European League. Obviously, Chandra, Vanessa, they're contested units between both of these players right now. Partnering up as well with a Cigar, say.
Yeah, Cigar, definitely those favorable picks between the two players. In this case, you could go for the Julian, you could go for that Kavachi, but decides to go for a different route. Goes for a Sekhmet himself and therefore a Meo Wing.
Yeah, Sekhmet and Mei Hu Wang coming up. Maybe changing a little bit of the playstyle right there. We saw the Mei Hu Wang didn't really do enough when he could take the turns in that last match, obviously. Nicest Meister right now does have, obviously, that Eleanor on his back pick, which has been pre-banned against him prior in his previous match, but we know it can be used to great effect. Puts up a lot of extra things with the Minato as well.
Yeah, Minato is definitely a strong unit into this, and that definitely signals that Pavix has to go for a few water units or potentially ban out that unit. So something along the lines here that actually might be very strong is a good old Miles Raccoon. Sure, Raccoon might be banned, but you would do a lot of damage towards the units of Nice Miles, and Miles can kind of take care of all those units. We have a Geldnir, which is actually a very interesting pick here, because Geldnir is so hard to deal with if you do not have a heal block.
It is, and obviously as well, taking all the stacks, keeping his team as healthy, and obviously a Julian as well, you can put up the health as much as possible. Right now, Nice Meister has to see how he's going to combat that, say. Would you just simply ban it and try pick something else, or are you going to go something against it?
Well, the interesting thing about Geldnir is the player that's playing against Geldnir is technically saying who is going to heal what at what moment. So if you know how to play against it, well, heal block is definitely a way. Amber provides heal block on passive, so it's going to be all the time there. But now it's the mind game, like do we ban the Amber, do we ban the Geldnir, or maybe one of the two not?
That is the mind games that are happening right now. Obviously, Geldnir has been banned out, but a Minato as well on the side of Nisus Meiser say, we've got speed leads going into this. This is League Day 2, Match 5, set number 2 between Nisus Meiser and Pafix. Nisus Meiser 1-0 up at the moment. Sekhmet has third skill available. Will she be able to insert that cool time, say? Let's see.
And
gets the cool time.
And she does it. Very nice in this case. But we have the anti-crit coming up here as well. There's not too much strips on the sides of Pavix, so it's definitely going to be difficult to get through all of those buffs and all of that immunity. But let's see what Pavix likes to focus on in this position, because there's a whole bunch of units you could focus first, but all of them are going to be probably pretty tanky.
They are. He has got a lot of damage on the side there, with Julian being able to use second skill right now. Does he go for it into the Eleanor? Decides to go for the Nessa, and obviously way less damage, say.
Yeah, that's definitely a lot less damage over there. And this is also the moment where you say, like, okay, I might armor break one unit, but then I'm actually gonna start hitting another unit because I just put the what's it called, the defense on that unit. So let's see how much this Amber can do, because Amber is very good damage if there's already debuffs.
She does quite a good amount of chip damage there, saying obviously the heal block landing on everyone, but Sekhmet has something to answer with that, putting heal blocks as well on the side. Can Julian look to take a unit out?
Didn't take it out, and that's actually the perfect moment to not take out a unit, because if it was taken out, it wouldn't have been stunned. In this case, it was stunned and nearly dead. So Julian can go for next cycling in that next round, and that's a very nice rotation for Pavix right there.
It is. Amber does have that first skill available. There is glancing right now. Going into the monkey, not doing a lot of damage at all. Cool times are available for Sekhmet. Do you go into that light unicorn, say?
Yep, that little bit of chip damage, and then you're hoping for double crits on this. Did get double crits, did not do enough damage, but did get the additional turn. Nearly takes out the Cigar, and then also takes out the Pony.
Wow. Cigar dropping and the unicorn as well coming out straight away there, sir. Say 2 units against 4, and there's some heavy damage on the side of Pafix still to come.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of damage, and I definitely do like a good Amber pick, but Amber pick mostly works when you already have other debuffs on the field. If there's not too many debuffs, it's very hard for Amber to actually get that proper damage in that she can do. And in this case, very well played by Pavix that is taking over this match.
He is taking it up. Resisted against Cool Time, but right now it's Amber versus the world. And especially against a Julian who's not going to be dying anytime soon. And let me just kill you instead right now. Pavix coming back there in our match 5, set 2. Nisus Meiser versus Pavix, 1-1. The points are split there, say. Wow. Crazy comeback from Pavix. Did you like that play?
Yeah, it was definitely a nice play, and that also definitely showed that in this case, the Julian had a bit more protection with, well, not that much protection, but there was just not too much on the enemy side to deal with it. We had that first reset of that Sekhmet going in, therefore the Cigar couldn't do too much, it couldn't reset anything, couldn't push back attack bars, and then it just became like a very strong matchup for Pavix in the first place to just like dish out damage left and right and make a victory based on that.
It was. So, Pafix playing obviously with the Chow in that first set, it was managing to hit through any of the defense, but the slows were really painful for him, not getting enough turns to obviously do more damage. And right there, you just see why Pafix's Julian is so scary. So much damage coming out, and when it is defended itself, and any additional turn can take out a unit, say there's so much damage potential on the side of Pafix with that unit.
Yeah,
Wow.
Definitely. Julian is a very scary unit. The moment you leave it alone, like there's a few counters to it. Like for example, people say a Rocky, it can go through the passive, instantly kill it. But the dangerous thing is a Julian can very easily take out a Rocky as well, because your Rocky needs to be very high on damage. So countering a Julian is definitely a difficult thing, and that's also why we've seen it pre-banned a few times.
Exactly. As a Julian owner myself, I do know that pushbacks are very hard against it and big damage going into it where you can't revive. Oh, taking away the passive completely right there. Wow. Well, it's something for Pafix to consider going into his next matches, obviously. But right now, we are going to be getting into that match I was briefly speaking about a little bit earlier of Tito Gofflet versus Raxaz. So we said about it, the fact that one is more of a turn 1 play style, the other is a turn 2. And obviously, let's see how they can combat each other within that. Who's your favorite going into this match?
I would say I give the slight upper hand to Raxus because he's also higher ranked on the leaderboards right now. It's also always easy to go by the numbers based on that. But I would say that Raxus is very comfortable with his turn 1. And I'm not entirely sure if Tito has like a good counter against all of the units that Raxus has in that sense. However, he does have that pre-ban. So the Light Monkey could be pre-banned, or any other unit he has difficulty with pre-banning. So I wouldn't count Tito out, but I would give the slight favor towards Raxus.
Here we are, then it is Tito Gofflet versus Raxaz. These guys have not actually faced each other at all in the past 2 seasons, so it's going to be hard to determine exactly how it's going to go for these guys. Fries or Pommes? Great beer or good beer? Well, here, pure skill meets Belgium finesse. As we're getting into Tito Gofflet versus Raxaz, match 6, not match 5, set 1, and we're going in for those pre-bans, say. So let's see if they do lock in the Light Monkey, potentially the Kiten Dasheng. Maybe a Ragdoll on the side of Raxaz against the Tito Gofflet. Let's see if the turn 1 beats turn 2. It is going to be the Kitan Dasheng banned out, but with the Gianna as well there, say.
Yeah, definitely a respect ban. Like, once again, Gianna's not really a core unit in current meta anymore. However, it is still a very core unit for Tito. So then it's just a fair one to ban out. In this case, that Asher is a very early pick, which is also more of a steal rather than a pickup of like a counter or anything like that. So Tito's definitely showcasing here. I'm gonna play your speed game. So let's see how Raxaz responds to that. Probably with a more, maybe a Chunk Pong.
What is the best form of defense? Potentially offense. So in terms of stealing those units and going, right, let's go for it. Let's see who's going to outspeed each other. Going there with the Maw, obviously got his 24% speed lead. Sagat, and very quickly answered there with the Oliver and Hay gang as well, say.
Yeah, definitely units that you see drafted on ladder a lot as well. And this is just muscle memory. It's like, okay, I see this, I respond this. Or I expected this, I respond to this. Raxaz is definitely taking a little bit more of his time to still lock in like things that he would normally lock in, but he's taking more of a time for a breather of like, okay, what makes sense right now? Do I go Bruiser right now? Yes, he decides to go Bruiser with that Smicer, with the Juno.
Yeah, he's deciding to change it up right now. He does have the luxury of a 3rd and 4th pick. Tito Gofflet right now going in with the last 2 picks. Obviously, like he said himself, a good draft is picking 4 units and banning out the last unit. But right now, Raxaz might have put a spanner in the works for Tito Gofflet. We're seeing a Marsha and we're seeing an Okeanos as well, say, that I know you've been very fond of recently.
Yeah, I definitely do like Okeanos, but I'm not entirely sure if I like it Okeanos over here, because that Marsha is the main damage dealer. If you have good enough artifacts, the other 4 units could do a decent amount of damage, but Raxaz could really easily put in another support unit and ban out that Marsha and probably overtake it that way. But actually goes for a one that we haven't seen too much, the Zibala.
Wow, we've had all the other puppeteers, but right now it's Zibala's time to shine if she manages to get through the ban phase right now. So the ban's potentially coming out for the Marsha. How were you seeing it on the side of Raxaz, say?
For Raxaz, I would still say maybe that last pick or the Juno.
No, let's see. They've got time to figure it out right now. Obviously, there's a different style. More has been banned out and the Hay gang instead. So not the units that we were potentially expecting right now. Maybe the players themselves weren't expecting, because usually it doesn't take so long for a leader skill. The speed lead coming in from Tito Gofflet and the defense lead from Cigar on the side of Raxaz. We're going into match 6, set number 1 of the Summoners War European League. Tito Gofflet versus Raxaz. Escher taking that first turn, boosting up the rest. Can Marsha do enough damage, say?
Yeah, in this case, it's definitely a way that you could say like, okay, I'm banning out the stripper because Hagang was the only stripper on the field. However, you still have units that have potential strip and then a CC as well. So that is the kind of thing that we're aiming for with Tito right now. However, we still have that Cigar moving anytime soon.
We do. Not managing to get anything pushed back in terms of the Juno, but obviously has been there reset. We've got Cigar coming in, skill 3 available. Say, who are you going to be going for?
I would definitely say that Okeanos. Okeanos is very deadly the moment he gets a few of those skill 3s off. And gets a double resisted, but is provoked at this moment. So still can take his turn, but you have to keep in mind the moment he takes a turn, he still has his skills.
He does, but he's been stunned out with a bomb on top as well from the Smicer. Those additional turns are going to be very useful for Marsha to stay mounted on that beast, say, for the damage output.
Yeah, you definitely need that damage output, but we see some good healings coming in from those two Puppeteers. Like 7.1k healing per skill 1. That is a lot of healing. That's definitely showing skill 1 artifacts on recovery. They definitely do work very well on those Puppeteers.
Yeah, I've decided not to take down the Marsha quite yet. And obviously Esche now has skill 3 available. How much damage is he going to be able to do on that Smicer? It was quite a lot, say.
It was definitely a good amount of damage, but the one unit we're gonna look at right now is that Okeanos. Okeanos is soon to be taking a turn. If he gets that additional turn, he can go for Rain of Stones. It's the Cast a Curse, and that's a lot of damage, but does not manage to stun the Smicer in this position.
It doesn't, but you have done the Cast a Curse, say, so maybe we need to return some favor for Raxaz as well. Juno is going in, doesn't quite have enough there to take out the Oliver.
Doesn't have enough, but this is a speed buff Marsha. Skill 1 does not scale that well with speed, is not enough damage, but the Oliver is going to be taking enough damage, taking out that Smicer.
Takes it out and manages now to get into that next turn. Gets the cool time on the Zabala as well. It's going to be very important for Zabala or Cigar to take a turn for Raxaz, say.
It's definitely very important, but it was also somewhat risky not taking out that Marsha when he had the chance, because Marsha now brings that armor breaks, brings the heavy damage, and brings you a unit that could have won your match over there, which is that Juno that has a lot of solo potential against the other units. But in this case, the Marsha on that skill 2 did do a lot of work.
Yeah, she's still mounted as well right now, so there's even going to be more damage coming into probably taking out that Zabala with an Esche. Can you just go for the kill? Yes, takes it out, and now it's Cigar versus the World Save, but 2 fire units against the wind?
Yeah, that's probably not gonna happen. Even just the Marsha would have probably made word of that. Probably the Okeanos 1v1, also a good matchup right there. But for me, it was definitely interesting to see a Zabala on that matchup over there. It's a strong unit, but was it really the most fitting one in this one? I'm not too sure, but very well played by Tito over here.
Tito Gofflet coming out 1-0 against Raxaz. That means he's not got a 100% record going into the rest of the Summoners War European League right now, say. Tito Gofflet coming out there with the 1. Maybe, well, an opposite thing from what we said. We thought a turn 1 versus a turn 2, but they kind of switched roles and it worked for each other.
Yeah, definitely interesting one to see. And that's also where you can see, like, if you force your opponent into a playstyle they're maybe not that familiar with, it might be that you get like a very comfortable pick that way and therefore get your victory based on that.
Exactly. So we had last round pre-bans, obviously the Gianna and the Keaton Dasheng. Right now it's wondering, how are you going to combat that, say? Are you going to be taking out something that was painful in the last round? Is he going to be looking at that Marsha? Maybe not. How are you going to deal with it?
You could go for just banning like comfortable picks. Like if you don't have the first turn and you know the enemy plays like a Moor, you could ban out that, like those Speedleys that we have seen before with a Moor and the Chibu pre-ban. That was against Glorious though. There's no Chibu that much placed in those two units. But you could maybe still go back to like the old days of like 2 years ago where everyone's just banning Oliver. It's still a very strong unit. It still has shown a lot of potential over here. And we have that Oliver pre-ban right here.
We do. We've got an Oliver pre-ban coming out on the side of Raxaz and a Bella on the side of Tito Gofflet, obviously knowing that Raxaz does have that unit available for him, but we haven't seen it so far in the Summoners War European League for Raxaz. So now he's got the first pick, deciding to steal an Escher and kind of copying what Tito Gofflet did in the last round there, say.
Yeah, definitely funny to see that an Escher is the most contested unit between those two players. Is Tito going for like a Chandra Cigar right now? Goes for a very early Diana. So Diana's already signaling, saying like, okay, you can go for that AoE cleave kind of style that you like to do with your Light Monkey, with your Moor, with your CP. But I already have that Diana on the field and bring it in.
Exactly. Again, a very early Diana pick. I can't remember if it was the actual set which Tito Gofflet won in the previous one, but let's find out as we're going into the rest of this set right now. Raxaz again taking his time through all of these picks. Does he also take some speed leads and go for the Keaton Dasheng?
Well, in this case, you could go for your comfortable picks over Moor and Keaton Dasheng. You could have also switched it around and maybe go for a Shizuka plus an Antares that, for example, Pinkroyd really likes to play, because that is very strong in those two early picks that Tito is showing right here.
It is. deciding not to go for the Ragdoll at the moment. Maybe it comes into effect later. Obviously, we know Raxaz doesn't have a Tian Lang. Popping out a few different units there, showing us exactly what he's kind of prepared for Raxaz, I would say. We've got a Feng Yen. Ragdoll, maybe not so comfortable in these picks, right? Say we've got a Ragdoll now and a Seimei instead.
I kind of like that Feng Yang, because Feng Yang gets like a constant boost up and therefore it's gonna take the turns. Seimei has an interesting kit as well, where all of the debuffs she provides healing for. But in the current case, there is a slow and there's potentially a stun or a sleep. Seimei's not really placed that well, I think, over here. And I definitely do like that Dumon and that Fire Cassandra on the opposite side.
Yeah, some definite kills or kill potential coming in there through obviously the Dumon with that Curse of Death and the Fire Cassandra as well. The second skill, Gianna, deciding to be locked in there. Say, we know it's a favorite unit of yours, but is it a good pick right now?
It's definitely an interesting pick. I would say that the ban on the Moor is probably quite dominant in this matchup because it's the only AoE stripper. Gianna is probably then also the ban on the other side, but let's see if they go for those.
Yeah, let's see if they go. We've instead got a Dooman that's been banned out and the Gianna as well, so Moor does manage to make its way through with Chandra. Both of them with those speed leads, but obviously the Escher on the side of Raxaz probably going to be taking up that first turn as we're getting in to match 6, set 2 between Tito Gofflet and Raxaz. Escher is going to be taking that turn with Moor following very soon behind, say. Can he get the strips?
Oh, does not get any proper strips and also didn't push up the enemy enough to where the Diana moved. If the Diana still moved, it would have still been fine for the Monkey to get its turn in, but currently in this position, the Monkey really can't do too much. So all eyes for Raxaz are right now on that Fire Cassandra. Can the Fire Cassandra do enough to any of the units? Not too much damage. Very tanky Monkey over there. Match is not over yet, but it's not looking that favorable for Raxaz at this moment.
Oh, getting the stuns, getting the slows. Now Fire Cassandra going to be looking to take out that Diana. Does manage to fully take it out, say.
Yeah, definitely a nice takeout over there, but we do have that revive. However, the revive of Seimei is similar as the revive of Shizuka, which is nerfed. So if you revive right now, Diana is not going to have the full skills up. It is in human form, however, already, which is definitely beneficial because that is where you do a lot more damage rather than in the pony form.
It is, and it managed to get the stun there on the Monkey, so it won't be taking a turn anytime soon unless it has an additional turn. Escher putting the heal block over there, say, but we know Chandra now can defend one of the units and look to hit any of the other side.
Yeah, definitely the eyes are right now on, can the Monkey get online where the Monkey can actually do the stunts? If that is the case, then Raxaz still has a good chance of winning. And the Fire Cassandra. If Fire Cassandra takes 2 more turns, she already has the skill 2 back, and that's going to do a lot of damage.
It is going to do, but Chandra coming back out with some stuns from the defend, and it's not quite enough to do so much damage in the same. Can he take out that Monkey? Not quite yet, say, like you said. Oh, but it's stunned.
The Monkey is also stunned right now, so definitely a difficult position for that Monkey to stay alive. There's more units going to be taking turns. We once again have that revive. There's still no skills on that Diana if you would go for the revive in this position, but you can also increase the cool times on other units, and therefore go for skill 3 into another skill 2, potentially with the Chandra.
He's defending everyone in his team right now, Chandra, and putting out stuns everywhere, sir.
That was a great stun, but on the other side, if that Cassandra would have moved, you would have had to go for your skill 2 at that position. Oh, he hits the skill, but now you have to go for the Chandra. You can't hit anything else than the Chandra. You have to crit on that Chandra. Chandra's going to be very tanky. Wrong element. Can you land it? Crit animation goes in. Go, we're gonna kill the Chandra. We kill the Chandra!
Oh my god, and we missed it earlier. The Monkey did have an additional turn, but it died from the dots there, so it then couldn't get back online. Escher, heal up the rest of the team.
This is definitely still potential right there. We did see that the Cassandra already used the passive, but there's not enough damage right there. But I don't think this Cassandra is gonna take another second turn. However, like I said, Seimei is pretty interesting, but Seimei only heals from debuffs. If you do not land any debuffs, Seimei is never gonna heal anything. And I think the 2v2 that we're gonna see when this Cassandra leaves the battlefield is very favorable for Raxaz.
Looking for some sort of pushback now then from the Moor in order to take the turns. Oh, is it gonna cut in?
It's gonna cut in, it will kill that unit, but then you have a Ragdoll against those 2 units. Ragdoll is not really a solo unit. If it's on Vampire, maybe, but then it still needs 2 turns to actually kill anything. Plus you have the Moor passive. Moor passive makes it very difficult for a Ragdoll to win any of those kind of matchups.
It definitely does, and obviously putting it into any of that Torrent Rage is going to be dangerous, but that Moor passive is going to be crucial. He needs to take 2 turns against it, say.
Yeah, 2 turns plus the Moor has attack break. So, well, with a proper ignore defense, any Ragdoll would one-shot any of those units. We're gonna see a dead... Yeah, we're definitely gonna see that one. That's a good 39k, but then, even if there was an additional turn, the Moor would have taken down. And that is the 1-1 with a victory of Raxus.
Wow, Raxaz managing to bring it back then in that match against Tito Gofflet. 1-1. Only lost 1 set for Raxaz during this Summoners War European League so far, but Tito played it very well. Very close match there in the end, say. Wow.
Yeah,
Ragdoll nearly came through, but it didn't quite work out for him.
Yeah, definitely an interesting matchup, but I would also say that Fire Cassandra was very well placed. Fire Cassandra sniping out those units. It did go for that 50-50 on the Chandra, but seeing that the Moor didn't ship anything, I would claim very fair on that one. So definitely a nice matchup, and definitely also something that if you fight those Fire Cassandras, try to take it out as fast as possible, because if it snipes out one unit and you make it a 3 against 3 because you take out that Fire Cassandra, match is still kind of fine. But if it goes for another round and it kills another unit, that is where you're going to have a very difficult matchup.
Definitely, and I think as well for Raxaz not managing to get any of those strips on the very first turn, which then didn't allow his monkey to get online and take any of the turns, it really set him in a hard motion for the rest of that match there. Wow, 1-1. We're seeing a lot of ups and downs like a roller coaster right now, saying these matches. We've got, again, more 1-1s, 2-0s popping out. We still have a total of 3 more matches left to come after soon a little break, but 3 more matches, say. How do you think these players are going to prepare now for the last match of League Day 2?
Well, they could go into the break and then look at the other matches, what they played previously, but we're going straight in the break. We're going to see what they prepared for. See you there, guys.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed your brief little 5-minute break and you've prepared yourselves for the last 3 matches of League Day number 2 from all of our players that have been playing today. There's been some crazy matchups so far, and we've only got even crazier matchups to follow. Say, we were just discussing there in the break the exact matches that are coming right now so that we're prepared for everything that's happening. As you can see on screen right now, these are the matches that have happened so far today. A lot of 1-1s, as well as a few 2-0s as well going through. Actually, all of the players today have received 1 point so far on the leaderboard, so do have something to their name. But we do know already, looking at the leaderboard, that even if somebody still goes on to win now with a 2-0, they will not be the top of the leaderboard. So if you want to be checking out the leaderboard live, make sure you use the command !EL to find the link to the league to get the live updates of the actual leaderboard right now. If you haven't done it, please do it. Check it out because it's always update there on time. Say, what do you think about that then? All the players have managed to get some points. Do you think there'll be more 1-1s going into these last 3 matches?
I definitely see potential for more 1-1s, but in the end, anything can happen. And we're definitely going to see some different dynamics here that we have seen on previous matchups. We're going to see, for example, with the Pafix Glorious match, the battle of the Tianlang, who's going to steal the Tianlang, or it's going to be pre-banned, or maybe even first picked. So those are definitely interesting matchup to see what we can do here. And Samsep, can you bring another crazy match in one of those?
Exactly. We've been speaking about that in each break as well, how crazy that is. But we do have right now Glorious versus Pafix. These guys have faced each other 24 times in the past 2 seasons, with Pafix having a 67% win rate. So does have the upper hand right now against Glorious. Well, I hope somebody fixes that leak, or it might be raining down with glory. As we have our match 7, set number 1 between Glorious and Pafix. Julian being banned out and Shan being banned out there. Say very much respect bans, I would say, going into this match.
Yeah, definitely respect bans on those signature picks that are mostly locked in the 2nd and 3rd slot. However, in the 1st slot, we're still open to see anything. Interestingly enough to see that Pafix still wants to go for a Chandra rather than go for a Steal of Tianlang. Tianlang is no longer as strong as it used to be, but both of them are not really showing like, okay, we can leave the Tianlang out of the field. We'll probably pick him later if he fits.
Exactly, deciding there for Glorious with the Maw and the Cigar. Again, we've been seeing a lot of these units during the Summoners War European League so far. As well, the answer on the side of Pafix with a Sekhmet and a Riley. Again, Sekhmet we've seen a lot of times during the Summoners War European League. Used to great effect in order to get that cool time, say.
Yeah, definitely used to great effect, but also can sometimes miss on that Cigar, and that's mostly the main target. So let's see what we have over here. We're having a very heavy bruiser match right here with a lot of healing going on with the Bolveric.
Yeah, Bolveric coming in as well. Maybe the first time we've seen it in the Summoners War European League so far. I'd have to check the stats afterwards, say, in order to get exactly if we've seen him. And he's going to decide to... Oh, no, change it up. Let me go double Pioneer instead. We have got the Chiwu and the Wouncer.
I'm pretty sure that was autofill picked. I'm pretty sure he wasn't planning to lock those in, and I'm pretty sure that it was just removed and then he locked in something that was auto-picked. So I'm not entirely sure if that was the case, but definitely good follow-ups from Pafix reading that with that Lucia and then also Tianlang. But I think Glorious is trying to save the draft right now with putting that Teor in, but I would say Teor is probably a ban on this draft, and then on the side of Pafix, it's going to be more of a difficult thing for banning.
Let's see then exactly how Glorious can combat this right now then. Obviously the units coming in, the Tianlang. Both of the guys do have this unit available, but Pafix deciding to lock it in. Teor is going to be banned out with that Fire Pure Vanilla Cookie as well there, say. So we've got the speed leads coming in from the Maw and the Chandra going into this matchup right now. Let's see. League Day 2, Match 7, Set 1 between Glorious and Pafix. Wouncer is going to be going first. Resisted against some of it, say.
Yeah, resisted against some of it. Tianlang is going to take the next turn, but Tianlang is glanced right now, so can't do too much. But the thing that we're looking at, what is the interaction going to be between the Cigar and the Riley? If Riley gets skills on and starts healing, match is definitely going to be very difficult. It's provoked and full reset. So Glorious still has the upper hand in this match until that Riley gets online.
Exactly. Can he keep it offline for as long as possible right now? More and more damage going into that Sekhmet. Riley, no additional turn coming out. Everything going into that Cigar from the provokes, say.
Yeah, definitely.
No sleep.
No sleep once again, but we did have that stun on the Cigar. So Cigar's not gonna take... Ooh, can we absorb attack bar? We do not absorb attack bar, and the Riley is online. The moment the Riley goes online, there is so much healing potential. Riley is even more online. We go for more healing potential, and the match is pretty much reset on one side of the battlefield. However, the other side of the battlefield is left without gas. He's gotta drive a car with no gas, and that's going to be a very difficult matchup right here.
It is. He doesn't land any of the defense breaks there from the Sekhmet, though, so it's going to give an opportunity now for Glorious. Can you get the provokes? That Riley, as soon as she gets back online, is going to be doing way more healing.
Yeah, that healing is just going to come there time and time again. The provoke is currently there. However, if the Tianleng kills that Cigar, the provoke is gone and Riley can still do whatever it likes to do.
Yeah, you can see there Glorious deciding to admit defeat, and we do have Pafix going in there with a 1-0 against Glorious, staying true to the stats, and we know you're a stat man, say that Pafix usually has the upper hand on Glorious on ladder, and right now does have the upper hand in this match 7. Wow, so we saw there maybe some sort of misplay from Glorious. We know you've got 30 seconds to pick the monsters that you want to use. Looked like a weird thing with the Pioneers coming in, but let's see now in the pre-bans. Who are you thinking for pre-bans?
I think the pre-bans probably still go to respected units more than... Yeah, in this case, you could also look at like, okay, do we go like a Chandra or Cigar pre-ban if we don't have those units on our side? But definitely, I would say those Pioneers, as matched in the previous one, were more related on like a auto lock pick rather than something that he wanted to pick. We have the Chiwu being banned and we have that Vanessa being banned, so the Vanessa-Julian pair is not possible for Pafix at this moment.
No, and Glorious does now have the first pick. Let's see who he decides to lock in. It is the Maw. So the unit has been locking in whenever he can so far in the European League. Obviously very strong with that speed lead, and a classic answer as well from Pafix there, say Chandra and a Sekhmet.
Yeah, Chandra and Sekhmet we definitely see a lot. Glorious could go into that Cigar right now, could go also into his comfortable picks with the Tianleng, with that Shan. He definitely likes to play those on ladder. However, I'm not too sure if not a simple pickup from Pafix with the Hey Gang or something like that could do a lot of work for Pafix. So he has to be careful. Actually decides to go for his very fast unit. Aims that Sekhmet is also not on Swift and then probably can outspeed it and then reset it. Or not reset it, silence it.
We know it from that last match there that it wasn't actually on Will, if I remember correctly. So it could be some sort of play that he's deciding to use there, Glorious, to outspeed. Might need to bring another speed lead with him. Pafix now maybe going in for the Bruiser, going in there with the Camilla and the Riley, say.
Yeah, definitely strong bruises, but Glorious has a very strong answer to bruises as well, which is that Dark Cassandra. However, he kind of got the Dark Cassandra away, mainly because that Sekhmet is already on the field that could reset it. Decides to go double wind units, and then we have a Lucia on the end of the battlefield, which is probably going to be bad looking at the units that Glorious is showing right now.
It is. If you're picking 2 fire units, you're probably not wanting to face a different fire unit on the other side. And here we're going into it. Glorious the Maw does get banned out, and the Lucia does get banned out there as well. So we have the speed lead on the side of Pafix. Probably needs to try and outspeed in that first play as we're going in to match 7. Set number 2 between Glorious and Pafix. Sekhmet does outspeed there, say.
It does outspeed because there's a speed lead only on one side. However, in this case, do you still go for the Ren? It's not really that important. Decides to go for another unit and steal the immunity in this case. So in this case, the only thing that the Ren can actually land on is a unit that it can't really do anything against. So let's see what this Changpong can do at a later moment.
Exactly. Now he has free reign to do a freeze. Doesn't manage to get the freeze on the Shan right there, say, but more immunity coming up. He does have strips on the side of Glorious right now, and he's definitely going to need them to happen.
Yeah, you definitely need the strips right now. Does miss one strip, but that is still fine. You could reset that unit. However, do you decide to go for the resetting on that unit? Because the reset on that unit is not that interesting.
It isn't, but now Shan still only had first skill. Can the defense breaks land? We have 3 out of 4.
We definitely have 3 out of 4, but the glancing hit that's on the Ren is definitely still very important as well. Because of that, there were not too many silence on your enemy side. But the Riley is once again in a position, like if the Riley comes online, Pafix is going to have a good match. But in this case, Glorious has a way stronger setup to make sure that that Riley does not get online.
Exactly. Now Cigar putting the damage instead onto the Chandra, getting more provokes out right now. Maybe going to target that Riley, getting a glancing hit still, say.
Yeah, the glancing hit is nice. However, there's a silence on a Riley. Riley does not care about silence. Riley cares about provoke, but did get the additional turn and therefore removed it. In this case, attack buff, armor break, 16k. That is a dead shot. That's a lot of damage right there.
It is, and you can just see the immunity on the side right now. He's going to strip it away, but Riley, again, back online very soon. And if it's resisted against that immunity, say, it's just going to keep healing.
Yeah, Riley is definitely showing in those bruiser fights a lot of potential. The moment that the Riley comes online, 1 or 2 turns, everything is full on attack bar, everything is full on HP bar. We get the attack buff, we get additional turns. And there's just so much going on for that Riley, where there's just so much healing, keeping all of those units so lively. Whereas Glorious doesn't have any units with any healing, so definitely has to try to get rid of that Riley right here.
He does. He's got Chung Pung. Can he just push back, keep decreasing that attack bar of the Riley? Don't let it take a turn, but Cigar's going to be online soon. Full provokes. Let's see if he manages to land it.
Definitely is going to need those full provokes over here. It's deciding on which unit it does go for. Ooh, gets full provokes across the board. Definitely very nice. And gets full pushbacks. Okay, Glorious is not out of the match yet. That's a good amount of damage from that Ren over there. And that damage from that CP will take out the Ren. And is this the turnaround for Glorious?
It could be right now. Does he get the defense break? He does on that Chandra, which is the only thing that can do some protect on the side of Pafix. Going into the Sekhmet instead, and that threat is going to be annoying for Pafix.
That threat state is definitely annoying. It's also interesting to see the interaction. We have provokes and we have threat state. However, the provokes go before the threat state. So still you have both of them working very well for you. But we have a Camilla all the way at the end coming soon as well. Can that Camilla maybe potentially do a 1v3? It's going to be hard against all of those water units too.
Yeah, exactly. You've got the wind units there of Chung Pung and Cigar still to follow. But if they can get rid of that Ren, it's going to make it a hell of a lot easier going through the rest of this match.
Yeah, in this case, I would definitely say the moment you take out that Cigar, I would say that Camilla has good chance to kill those wind units. But we have an additional turn on that Cigar, and that Cigar is going to do a lot of damage and provide some of those increased cool times as well.
Didn't manage to fully push back the Sekhmet, and now the cool time on that Chung Pung as well, not allowing it any turns anytime soon. Going for the kill on the Chandra, probably needs to get the kill on the Sekhmet very soon as well.
Yeah, if he gets the kill on that Sekhmet, that's definitely good news for Glorious. However, on the other side, if we get the kill on the Cigar, it's very good news. But this time, no threat state. Can we do it? Skill 2. If you crit right now, it's enemy max HP damage. You could potentially crits and he kills!
Oh, wow. Cigar off the field right now. It's all whether... can it do it, say? A Camilla versus both Chung Pung and here?
It is an option, however, so you have that threat state at the moment that you can't deal damage. But if you additional turn, then you can actually deal damage. It's not doing too much damage. It's more of a supportive kind of style of Camilla. We still have a lot of damage from that Chung Pung, but the side of healing is on that Camilla, so there is a potential.
There is the potential right now. And right now it's open to get that skill 2, and it's going to freeze.
That's some good damage, but this is actually a bad moment to go for skill 3. Doesn't manage to land a crit. That's actually beneficial because of that glancing. The glance actually made it survive. Now we go for skill through. How much damage do you do? Good amount of damage, but there's still 50% HP left on that unit. And that Camilla is so fast. The Camilla is cycling, and Camilla is definitely going to be winning a 1v1 against all of those wind units. There's still a little bit damage to be done. You need those pushbacks.
We have no idea. Is she going to be able to do it? She should be able to do it, right? There's so much, and the cool time as well there, say.
The cool time, but if we go for a proc right here, a proc would have been able to maybe take it out, but the Camilla takes it, and that is a 2-0 for Pafix with an amazing ruined Camilla right there.
Wow, Pafix managing to take Glorious out 2-0 right there, keeping up his stats for you, say, the stat man. He has continued that against Glorious. Maybe it might be Glorious's bogeyman. Will any of those point losses come back to hurt Glorious later on in the league? We have no idea right now, but in a couple of weeks' time, he might rue those decisions that were made. Well, I'll say so. The Camilla managing to survive through everything that was happening right there, but also doing a lot of work from the Fire Shadowcaster there.
Yeah, definitely. The Fire Shadowcaster at some point did a lot of damage. It had like that 8k into a 2k with the damage that it did on the armor break with the Riley, able to take that Riley out at some point. But that Camilla was doing a lot of chip damage. Probably crit rate Camilla, very high on HP, very high on speed, providing more of healing rather than a lot of damage. But in this case, that little bit of chip damage, surviving long enough, being fast enough, that was definitely important. Because if it was getting outsped by the CP all the time, CP would have taken over that match. But since there was speed lead only on one side of the battlefield, the Camilla was faster, was able to get those healings in, and that's why we also saw the difference between a Camilla and a Chow. Chow wasn't able to do it, Camilla was able to do it.
Exactly, and it's the same player, Pafix there, so deciding to switch things up, and it shows that you have to be adaptive, get ready to read what the opposition is doing, and play to your strengths there. Obviously, the Camilla coming through very strong. Unlucky for Glorious, but obviously that is the end of those two guys' matches for today. But hang around, we've still got 2 more matches to come, and the rest of our players to get those crucial points for the Summoners War European League. If I'm correct right now, say we do have Nicer Smicer versus Raxas coming up. What do you think about this matchup?
Oh, that's definitely going to be an interesting matchup because Nicer Smicer really likes to play the counterplay. So he's going to be into a lot of passives most likely. And then it's up to Raxas. Is he gonna match with those bruisers and those counterplay that Nice Smicer likes to play. He also plays Smicer himself. Or is Rexus just gonna go hard on that Light Monkey? But the Light Monkey so far hasn't been showing him that well today. Most of the time it was either just stunned a lot, banned out, or anything like that. We haven't seen too much of the Light Monkey, but maybe he can make it work in this match.
Let's see, both of these guys also do have Volantis in their pockets as well. Maybe we might see him be used to good effect. Maybe it's another contested unit between both of the players. We'll find out very soon as we'll be preparing that match. These guys actually have never played each other in the past 2 seasons. So again, we have no idea what we're going into in this matchup right now. We obviously know that they've both been at the SWC before, so they've got proven credential when it comes to playing competitive RTA. But right now is the time to prove it for themselves. Obviously, more points on this leaderboard is going to get you closer to the playoffs and then that obvious cash prize, which everybody is very excited to play in. These guys must be getting a little bit nervous right now, say. But what do you think is the easiest outcome for this? Do you have a favorite?
Well, I would say that this matchup is a very 50-50 matchup for me, because it's definitely who gets the draft in that's more favorable at the moment that is right now. Bans, I would still say that it's going to be like respected bans towards that Light Monkey, but on the side of Nice Smicer, what is really a respected ban? He does like that Chandra a lot, but that is a unit that Ruxus can steal a lot as well, so I'm not entirely sure what Ruxus will go for the ban here.
Here we go. No more horsing around. Let's get damn right back into the action of pure skill. As we've got Nice Smicer versus Raxaz. Chandra is getting banned out there, say, along with the Keaton Dashang. Obviously, the respect bans coming in. And Raxaz is going to be having freedom of that first pick. Will he look for something like a Maw with a speed lead? Or is he setting up already for a Bruiser? Taking the Maw.
Taking the Maw. So in this case, Nice Smicer could go for its comfortable pick in Sagar, which he likes to use a lot. But Sagar is very well paired with that Chandra. So in this case, Nice Smicer, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes straight for counter pick. So maybe like an early Diana that we have seen earlier today, or a Volantis, which is also definitely a nice counter pick on this.
Exactly. We know that both of these players have this unit available, deciding to go very light heavy at the moment, the Volantis with the Eleanor. We've seen it come to great fruition earlier today as well for Nice Smicer. How do you think you're going to be answering that, say?
Definitely it's going to be the question right now. Do you want to still hard continue on your quest to AoE CCing with that Light Monkey with all of those units? Or are you going to say, maybe take a step back and I'm going to go for a Juno. Great counter into a Volantis. Maybe some other units that are great counters into what you see right now, rather than playing your own style.
He's sticking with his style there. Say he's gone for the Changpeng, gone for the Escher, saying whatever you've got, I'm going to get through it. I'm going to be able to control. Another Unicorn, Diana coming out with a Mei Hu Wang. We can see it is turn 1 versus turn 2.
Yeah, it's definitely turn 1 versus turn 2. And it's also very strongly on the side of Nice Smicer. We don't want to go for the third skill. We want to fix it with a third skill that is a passive. On the side of Rexus right now, if you still go through with this draft, I think you kind of have to go through. You have to go for that. Well, Light Monkey is not on the field right now. Amasha, you have to bring in some heavy damage right now to kill everything on the side of Nice Smicer.
Let's see, is there another damage unit? He is going to be taking that Fire Cassandra. We saw it earlier. When it gets online, it can snipe out with that skill too. Say, and Marsha as well can also provide a lot of damage with a defense break into that second skill as well. Nice Smicer looking to react to this now. Do you bring some form of healing sustain?
You could go for some healing sustain, maybe like a Raccoon. You haven't seen Raccoon all day so far yet. Or you go for another passive unit, which is a Widget, and then you're still kind of speed contesting. But then speed contesting on a base that is still a passive.
Yeah, Amduat has been locked in right there. Let's see then exactly who is going to be banned out as we're going into these matches. This is match 8, set 1, remember, for these guys. This is their final match of the day. Wow, this is all to play for as we take out that damage of the Fire Cassandra, and the Eleanor has been banned out as well there. Say, probably speed leads coming in, potential speed lead on one side, and the defense lead of Mei Hu Wang coming in. Wow, Nice Smicer versus Raxaz. Match 8, set 1 of our Summoners War European League. Taking that first turn will be the Escher to push up. Can we get strips from the Maw or the Changpeng later on? Say, that's going to be the question, I think.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be the question. It's also going to be the question, can that Volantis do enough on the pushback? And I actually said it, I'm so used to seeing a Widget, but this is an Amduat. Amduat is a different kind of passive. But in this case, the units didn't do too much, and we're seeing a very favorable match for Raxus over here. Can cleanly go into the Diana. Can you actually kill that? Does a good amount of damage, but that's also a very tanky Diana right there. But we're gonna have damage from, well, Amduat.
if there's no stuns coming out. No stuns came, so obviously Escher will still have skill 3 available to take out that Diana if needed, and probably will go for it in order to get the kill. Secures the kill. Amduat's turns are not coming quick enough, say.
Yeah, the Amduat turns are not quick enough, but the unit I'm looking at right now is that Volantis. Volantis, are you reset? Or do you still have your skills up? If it does still have skills up, the match could flip around based on what the Volantis is going to do. We're gonna have an armor break. We do have an armor break, and the Volantis does have the skills.
Oh, and it gets a stun there on the Marsha as well, say. More available with second skill, but glancing as well. Probably going to need some sort of pushbacks because that monkey damage is coming ever so quickly.
Yeah, the monkey damage is definitely going to come in, and that's Changpong actually landed nothing in this potential. Do we go for another stun, or do we actually add in more damage on that Changpong in this position?
Yeah, it's all decisions right now. Going for the stun on the Escher to stop sustain and heal coming through, say. But is it going to be enough? Because Monkey probably maybe takes down? No, not enough.
Yeah, it's not going to take it down, and the Marsha is definitely still a very dangerous unit, and there's no healing on the side of Nice Smice, so the chip damage, all of that AoE damage that's coming in, is still doing quite some, but we have the Marsha, skill 2. Can we do some on the Monkey? We instantly kill the Monkey. That Marsha is dealing so much damage. Such a well-run Marsha there from Raxas, and that just takes out the unit and probably provides him this victory right here.
Can see right now just the importance of keeping your Beast Rider on the beast, how much damage that can provide with the defense break right now, especially coming in now. She's going to be able to cycle very soon, and we're going to see a dead Amduat.
Yeah, the dead Amduat is probably going to make it that this match is going to end very soon right now. The Marsha is going to get some more turns in. Volantis can't really do all too much here without any of those skills, and that's also a concede, and that is a victory from Raxas.
Wow, Raxas coming out strong and hot against Nicer Smicer right there in his final match of today. Coming again with a 1-0. Obviously couldn't have any of the Khitan Dashang earlier, but his turn 1 proved to be strong enough against Smicer's turn 2 there, say. Do you think Smice has to change things up as we're going into these pre-bans?
Yeah, I definitely think the Amduat pick was interesting. However, the Amduat is also without will. So the Moor is very easy to push it back. Then you have the Changpong, which is very easy to push it back. So all your hopes are pretty much on the Volantis not being pushed back enough and then taking over that match. So let's see if there's a different flavor to that on this match.
Yeah, so Nice Smicer deciding to take out the Escher to prevent maybe some sort of turn 1 playstyle again from Raxas, and Eleanor being banned out on the side of Raxas for Nice Smicer. Obviously doesn't want to deal with any of that unit, putting up all of the buffs on the side of Nice Smicer. Stealing again that Chandra right now for Nice Smicer, say.
Yeah, Nice Smicer definitely on a comfortable pick with that Chandra. Is Raxas still gonna go for comfortable units as in a more Changpong or a more and then a Monkey? In this case, can't pair that with the Escher, so you have to be careful of a Sekhmet being on the opposing side right now.
Yeah, we've come out with the Khitan Dashang and the Maw, maybe setting up again for some more turn 1 playstyle to control the other team. But Volantis being answered by Nicer Smicer. We know if you take this unit that Raxas can't use it later on, but hasn't been leaning on it so much in today's Summoners War European League. Nicer Smicer has been, and in all honesty, it did as much as it probably could in that last set, but it wasn't quite enough overall with the Diana falling so quickly. Going for a Wind Robo.
Wind Robo is definitely interesting. It's one of those units that kind of says like, okay, you could Heigang me to counter the Volantis, but I'm already taking care of a Heigang pick with a Robo. But it might also be kind of an early Robo where Raxas could say like, okay, then I'll go for the Bruiser style. I'll drop in the Juno or any of those kind of units. Or still goes for his Changpong and his comfortable picks like that. But he would need to add in a speed lead at this position, most likely.
Exactly. Let's see if he does. No, he's deciding to maybe play the sword on both sides, right? He's decided to lock in the Changpong, but also with the Juno. Fire Cassandra on the side of Nicer Smicer may be also a steal, because we know Raxas has been back pocketing that certain unit in order to kind of scare his opponents. Who do you think he's going to partner this up with?
I would say in this position, a triple Revenge Vert would definitely be very strong. It has good odds against the Moor, it has good odds against the Changpong for sure, so definitely would be a strong unit over here, but decides to go for a Meo Wang in this position.
Deciding for another unit with a lot of damage potential, and especially if this match goes on for much longer. As we know, the stats do go up and down in this position. Rax right now has a bit of time to figure out who he's going to pick. Say, who's your back pocket pick for this?
Well, I would say that's probably a speed lead is going to be beneficial, but if you remove that Moor, there is a lot less potential for the Raxas draft. So Raxas is kind of in a difficult position right now. Goes for a Sonya. So that Sonya probably says that I would say both of the speed leads are going to be banned out.
Let's see then, as we're going in now, they've got those seconds to decide exactly if they're going to ban out those speed leads. There's a lot of snipe units on the field there, say, with obviously the Fire Cassandra and the Sonya, so we could see a quick dead unit. However, it is dependent on whether these speed leads go through and who is fast enough, who's been farming enough to get those obviously very fast runes. We've got the Keaton Desheng being banned out and the Fire Cassandra, meaning that we'll take the speed leads going through to our final set for this match between Nysa Smicer and Raxaz in our Summoners War European League, day number 2. Taking that first turn is going to be the Sonya. Can she kill, Say?
Yeah, that's definitely going to be the question. And she kills a Robo, definitely an easy target to kill. But now it's going to be the question, how much can the follow-up do of Raxaz? And so far, we have a lot of follow-up, but don't count out the Monkey. Monkey is very well able to come back from those kind of positions, but it's going to be a very difficult match for a Nysa Smicer right here.
It is right now. I did notice, I think, that the Volantis didn't get fully reset, so he does have skills, I think, online. But is it going to be taking a turn anytime soon to deal that damage? We've got Monkey now, skill 2 available with a little bit of heal. Can he get the armor break over there? Resisted on that Sonya, but takes the additional turn.
At least the skill wasn't glanced on both occasions, but the thing that could land didn't land also in both occasions. Are we going to land glancing right now? We get glancing on the 2 most important targets.
We do, and Volantis follows up there with that skill. You're going to have to take that Sonya out very soon, Say.
Yeah, but if you hit the Sonya right now, well, it would take a turn anyway, so you probably have to aim for it. It's going to be definitely a gamble. Was the gamble taken, but it was glancing. We get extra attack bar for that unit. Double armor, double hit armor break, not enough. Is this unit going to do enough? It might do enough.
That skill 1 damage isn't enough, Say, for you. Normally, oh, but we've got a glance!
We glance. There was the glancing over there that once again gave the attack buff. We do see the Chandra surviving. We have seen quite some Chandras these days that are actually tanky enough to survive those kind of hits. However, it is still a difficult battle right now because the Volantis is just gonna make the Juno heal. Juno's gonna take out that Monkey, and I don't really see a Juno lose to those 2 units on the opponent's side, especially not if she has still 2 friends on the battlefield.
Exactly, and she's got that speed buff. She's taking as many turns as possible. Raxaz needs to just get rid of that Chandra, and it's probably going to be game over, Say.
Yeah, I definitely think it's game over. A Juno with that additional damage artifacts can definitely deal with a wrong element, in this case that Chandra, and the other way around. It's not really a great matchup, so I definitely will say that the Juno is going to win this one.
Wow, there we go. That is the confirmation for Raxaz. Takes 2 points against Nysa Smicer. That's going to do him a world of good in the leaderboard. Probably somewhere around 3rd or 4th place at the moment in our leaderboard. But we'll catch up with that a little bit later on. You can see there that the contested, or not contested unit, but the unit both these guys have, the Volantis, not working too well in the end for Nysa Smicer there, Say.
Well, it's also something that I noticed from my own plays back in the days that if someone played a Gianna against me, I was very comfortable playing against Gianna because I know what it loses against. And that is something that you can also think of, like, okay, if you steal a unit from the opposing side, is it actually gonna do good? Because it very well could be that moment where the opposing side is like, okay, I know exactly how to play against it because this is how they play against me. This is how I lose. So that is definitely always a dangerous thing by stealing one of those units.
Exactly. You always learn from a loss. And especially if it's a unit that you have and you've lost with it, you're probably going to learn even quicker exactly what you don't want to face against. And then in these positions where you can pre-ban units as well in the competitive RTA, something that you can take forward with you and hopefully prove to be beneficial. And it did in the case of Raxaz right now, sticking with his turn 1 playstyle, following it up, like we were mentioning earlier today with other players. Once they had the follow-up and it was setting through, could really provide some good wins and points on that leaderboard, Say. We're going into our last matchup of today, actually. We're going to be going for Tito Gofflet versus Sambi Sepp. Now, we've seen some interesting playstyles from both of these players today, Say. How do you think this one's going to end up?
This one is very difficult to predict because Sambi Sepp has shown 2 playstyles right here so far. One playstyle is with that Siana and then the pushback and then all of those LDs that he has with that. But he also has went for all of those debuffs that he showed in that one match. So it's hard to say which of the 2 playstyles will fit to play against Tito. Tito has been shown that he also likes a lot of turn 2 units like that Diana, like Veromos, like all of those things. So it's going to be a hard matchup for Sambi Sepp to actually get his comfortable draft in.
Let's find out then. Actually, these guys have played each other 12 times over the past 2 seasons, with Sambi Sepp on a 67% win rate out of them both. So it is favouring potentially Sambi Sepp into this matchup. Let's find out. Both newcomers have set foot into the biggest stage they've ever appeared in Who will ride away with this one? Well, let's find out. We've got Ziana and we have a Ragdoll being pre-banned out there. Probably some respect bans in all honesty, say. How do you think this one's going to turn out?
Well, I would say not necessarily. The Ziana is definitely a respect ban, but the Ragdoll is definitely a ban of like, I don't like to play against that unit. I AoE all the time. I have a lot of crit rate. I don't like to play against it. So I definitely like that Ragdoll ban over here. And now the question is Tito gonna go for counter picks right from turn, or like the first 2 picks, or is he first gonna pick like 1 or 2 comfortable units and then go for counter picks?
Exactly. We've got an Escher stolen right there from Sambi. We saw it earlier, I think, in the match between Tito and Raxaz, stealing that unit very early. And Tito deciding to potentially go for the Chandra, and he had a different... Which unicorn are you going to decide there? Oh, maybe none of them. I'll go for Valkyries instead, going for a Vanessa and a Camilla there, say.
That's a lot of switch up. I'm not entirely sure if that's his most comfortable pick in the end, because he showed 6 units in those first 2 slots. But this is definitely something that Zambisep's like, I like my Maximilian over here. I got my Heigang in over here. And this is the position where Tito is showing a lot more like... Those units are good for bruising, but those units are not that good for surviving. So let's see what he brings with that.
Let's find out. He's deciding to maybe go for a Veramos. We saw how strong he can be. But Zambisep had a good answer for that earlier today as well. Partnering up now with an Etna. Maybe an interesting pick right there, especially against the current units that are on the field. Again, some kind of not always comfortable with his picks right now, say. Going there for the Sekhmet instead.
The Sekhmet or the Athena, I think both are definitely good picks. However, the issue is that you still have to have like enough speed to actually outspeed everything. If Zambisep goes for, let's say, goes for a Lisel, that's a unit we haven't seen yet. The Water Vampire is used quite a lot in Special League, especially in these kind of comps as well. But this is definitely a very interesting setup, because in the end, we only see 1 speed lead on the side of Zambisep and could easily be outsped.
Yeah, let's find out then. So maybe the speed leads are going to be banned out right now in order to see who is faster, that Escher or the Sekhmet, as we're going into it. Liesel being picked as well. I think it's the first time for us in the Summoners War European League as well, but maybe another shout out to a Sean B, making it popular during those special leagues. And let's see if it can be used. Will Tito Gofflet be banning the content, or will we be able to watch this unit actually being used in the Summoners War European League? It's going to be Escher and it's going to be the Robo, meaning that speed leads are available for both of them to take forward. The Maximilian 24 and the Tito Gofflet with the 33 of Vanessa. Match 9, set 1. It's the last match of the day. Tito Gofflet versus Sam B. Sep. Sekhmet is going to be taking that first turn. Can she get a cool time on the unit of Sam B. Sep? Deciding to go for that Maximilian and gets it, say.
Yeah, definitely gets it. But interestingly enough, we have the Vanessa and the Camilla moving next. Vanessa can actually decide if a unit moves out of turn order. So you could aim for the Lisel and make the Lisel move in front of the strippers. Exactly goes for that. And in this case, we have a lot of immunity on the field. And you still have to go for that skill 3 more or less. The big issue is that Lisel is all about skill 3. It doesn't really do anything else on any of the other skills. It's just the skill 3. And if that's used already, it could be not that beneficial for Zambisep in his position.
It might not, but it's putting enough pushbacks right now on the side of Tito Gofflet that he could be looking for a kill very soon on that Vanessa potentially to stop any revives coming out later. Deciding for the Camilla instead and landing.
Landing a lot of debuffs, but we do have that Veramos, and we have seen the Veramos before doing a lot of cleansing work. So if you have those debuffs on the field and actually add more debuffs, Veramos is going to be getting a lot of attack power on that. However, if Maximilian gets to the position where Maximilian gets his skills back, that he's 1 turn away from his skills. If he gets a good rotation from a skill 2 into a skill 3, he's gonna do a lot of damage. Goes for the skill 3, does actually manage to cleanse, but because of those cleanses that are happening, Heigang is slightly boosting up the whole team every time as well. So if the Veramos is cleansing, we do have Maximilian more chance of getting the turn. If the Maximilian skill 3 happens, with a great stunner on that Veramos, let's see if Maximilian can make it work.
Let's see, he's going to be taking a turn sometime soon, but Sekhmet may have an answer for it on the side of Tito Gofflet. Chung Pung looking to push back that Camilla, stopping it taking turns. There is glancing, so nothing is happening right now, and we do have that skill 3 setup. Say, is it going to be enough?
That's going to be a lot of damage. I see armor breaks across the board. I see a lot of push-up coming right there. He's still trying to kill that Camilla first. I'm not entirely sure about that. But we also have the killing wave coming back, and the killing wave doing so much damage, getting that additional turn, taking out the units. And that is just a clean sweep with like 2-3 skills that we would like to see from the start, or we can also see later in the match. And that is the victory for Sam B. Sep.
Wow, Sam B. Sep coming out strong. Liesel popping off there. If none of you guys have him ruined up, this is why you need to. We're even at the Summoners War European League, and he is being used at the highest level right now. Granted, these guys have got some crazy runes and artifacts, but still you can see exactly the damage that can come from this 4-star unit, say.
Yeah, definitely a very interesting fight. Like at the first moment where the turn orders weren't really right, I was at the point like, this is not gonna work. But Tito had like a good counters, but he didn't have enough damage or enough like anything going on to actually CC the enemy side. And therefore at some point there was just the rotations of like, okay, Maximilian got skills back, even the Lisel got skills back, which is a pretty long cooldown. And that just worked out so well. Going straight into the next match, we once again have speed chasing. And that's definitely dangerous for Tito, because if you give Sambi Sap that first turn, you give him the units that he wants, he can do a lot of damage.
Exactly, that's probably why he stole the Escher again. We're seeing Escher being the first pick a lot of times right now, so maybe not so common on ladder, but with a pre-ban coming into effect, it becomes a much stronger unit if you've banned out some units that you don't want to face. We get the response there from a Nephthys and a more double speed lead, Oliver and Okeanos out on the field, say.
Yeah, Okeanos, definitely a nice unit. It's very similar to a Sekhmet for that skill 2 compared to a Sekhmet skill 3, but then it also has a very strong skill 3 by itself. However, it's not as fast. So Sambi Sap actually changing up the draft quite a bit, but definitely reading the draft well here with dropping in those fire units. However, Tito also responds with more water units.
Exactly. Simple stuff in RTA. If you see fire units, usually water units are a good response right now, and especially with all of that sustain as well from the Camilla and coming in from the Abelio, with no real cool times put down on the side of Sambi Sap right now. Say, who are you looking to draft in that last pick?
One thing you can keep in mind for Sambi Sap is that there's no armor break on the side of Tito. So sure, he has sustain, sure he has a decent amount of damage, but there's no direct armor break. If you go on a bruiser side, or maybe even just more damage, that only works if your Juno is in tune to be faster than your whole team, which a lot of people don't have the rune quality for, but Sambi Sap might actually surprise us and show it right here. Let's see how that works out.
Exactly. We've seen some crazy stuff already from his box in the previous matches with obviously the the cleanse block and all of these other debuffs. Right now he's deciding to go for some more of a speed. Can he just kill Tito Gofflet in that first turn? Obviously, the bans are going to be coming in right now. It's going to be deciding whether he wants to maybe take out that Abelio. What's going to happen? We're going to be finding out very, very soon. It is Abelio taken out with the Ziana. So we're going to be going in with speed leads, Oliver and the Moor. This is match 9, set 2, our final match of League Day 2 of the Summoners War European League. Who can get that final point that could be crucial as we get in later stages of the European League? Escher is going to be able to push up everyone on the team.
We do see an issue right here that there's a lot of units on the side of Sambi Sap not being on Will. And not being on Will makes it very open for the Oliver, the Okeanos, and the Camilla. So this is definitely a troublesome scenario where he does get... Okeanos is very good at stunning the opposing element, mainly because there's just 3 to 5 stones. There's very good odds that one of those stones will actually get that stun in.
Exactly, but he decided not to do anything with the Nephthys right now, so it will be coming online very soon. Camilla obviously has a turn right now. Is she going to look to potentially dismount that Marsha? Obviously, there's defense breaks coming out from there. Skill 2 available, say?
Skill 2 is available. Okeanos can actually return those as well, and Camilla's most likely to cleanse those off, because there's just good odds with 3 hits that you would crit on one of those. But now we're going to see if Sambi Sap can change around this match and maybe do enough.
Let's see if Okeanos can throw back those things. No, just getting the heal block over, but there's nothing really to follow up with, say, apart from that skill 2.
Yeah, there's not too much... Oh, and there was another resistance, so the Moor does actually have the skills, but we have another violent proc on that Oliver. Oliver taking the skills away from that Moor as well.
Deciding to channel everything into that Moor right now, say, is that what you'd be doing?
Well, the moment you kill the Moor, Moor is the most dangerous unit to kill your Camilla. If the Camilla is on the field against the other 3 units, she can do a 1v3. With the Moor on the field, it's getting more dangerous. In this case, we're going for that Escher, and the Escher is mainly just the target because of that armor break still sticking on there.
Exactly. The more damage you can pile in, the closer to confirming a kill, and obviously one less unit on the field is going to be very beneficial. Skill 3 doesn't quite dismount there, say.
Not enough for the dismount, but in this case, we're definitely... I would go for the kill right here. And then I would see if the Moor can maybe go for a stun. Ooh, was hoping for a violent proc over there and then maybe provide the silence. However, in this case, he's just gonna throw back the attack buff. Or attack break in this case.
Yeah.
Let's see if that Marsha can still do enough damage on that.
Exactly, it's got the skill 2 available, but right now, with a Camilla on the field and 2 units, she's got something to say about it. Can she take that Okeanos out? 10k hit.
That's definitely a decent amount of damage, and this is going to be a very interesting fight, because Juno will probably take out that Okeanos. If not, then the Nephthys will take out the Okeanos.
Yeah, she decides to take it out, and now it's going to be piled into that Oliver, and probably hoping that Camilla can't do a solo at the end.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be... Oh, we have another Marsha proc, and Marsha's dealing a lot of damage and landing that slow. That slow is very crucial, because the less turns Oliver take, the less CC that Oliver can give in the form of pushbacks. So, but now we have the big question. Can a Camilla do a 1v3 here? We have seen her win before. This is definitely a matchup that she's favorable in, but Juno can still do a lot of damage.
Yeah, she's going to be looking to try and tunnel as much damage into that Camilla as possible. I didn't see how much S1 damage is there, say. Is it good enough for your level?
Well, 1.6k is what I've seen, if I'm not mistaken. However, Camilla has the damage reduction, so I definitely would say that that is good enough damage. But you also have that damage on the other side. I'm not too sure about skill 2. Skill 2 is definitely not favorable. You could say for less crits and maybe getting a stun in, but I definitely wouldn't do skill 2 because you don't have the cycling on that skill 2. But so far, so good. Juno's been doing a lot of damage, and definitely that additional turn helps out a lot because you get an armor break and then 2 more hits on top of that. On the other side, we also have an additional turn. Getting in that freeze, very important. Does get in that freeze. We still have that fight between the Camilla and the Juno coming in here. Juno gets that speed buff right now. The Camilla's looking so low. We need one more hit, and the Juno takes it.
Wow, Sam Bicep coming out with Juno there, taking out Tito Gofflet's Camilla, allowing him to get 2 points in the Summoners War European League, say. That is wild right now. Wild.
And that is, ladies and gentlemen, why you farm artifacts.
Exactly. Your S1 damage, don't ever come close to the guy sat next to me. I think you're sat over here. His S1 damage is renowned for being high. You can see right there just exactly how much it could do to take out a unit there, say.
Yeah, absolutely. And just in general, very well played. Very interesting drafts. The first one with the Lisel, very well crafted, very well done. And then just also having those kind of units ruined up. Like, he has a lot of LDs, but he also brings in like the easy obtainable units in there with like a 4-star that's, is it fusible? I'm not even sure if it's fusible, but easily obtainable units, and then just making it work like that. And then on top of that, has just like a very clean drafting style, but also very fun to watch drafting style. So definitely an opponent that I'll be looking, or a player that I'll be looking forward to see play in the other weeks that we have to come.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be exciting to see, obviously, coming in with new strategies. If they work out, it's crazy. If it doesn't, oh well, it's only one set. Maybe you can resort back to your other kind of traditional picks on those second sets to try and get those points. But we do know if you can bring something to the table that can freak somebody out on the other side of the field, they might not know how to react, right? And that's all the mind games that are here. Summoners War European League. This is our day 2. Day 2 is finally over, say. Who are your standout candidates from our 6 new players that have joined the league today?
Well, I would say for Roxas, got the most amount of wins. I think we'll probably go into the standings right here pretty soon. And wait, this looks actually pretty interesting. We got all 0-2s at the end of the last set. But I would definitely say Roxas played very well with his 2-0s that we see over here. But for me, the most interesting player was actually Sam Bicep, who also took 5 victories on this as a rookie player.
Exactly. I mean, the more points you can take right now is
wait, I saw that wrong. Glorious took the win in the middle one. Sorry, I saw that.
3. I'll give you 3. But still, 3 puts you in a good position at the league at the moment. It's still very early in the league, right? So obviously, all of these points matter. And everyone actually from today's games did actually take points. And we can now see the official standings after League Day 2. So all the players have played matches right now. We have at the top right now Ababa and Pinkroyd. Kind of everybody probably expected that. We know Ababa recently got a new LD, which could be probably featured very soon in the European League. And as we go further down to the bottom, Glorious, Nisus, Misa, Angel, and Adri are going to be wanting to gather points as quickly as they can to get in that top 8 to qualify there. Say, any standout positions for you?
Well, it's funny to see how many people are at 3. Like, the whole rank 5 to rank 8 is all at 3. So we're still pretty early in the league, so a lot of things can still happen. But as you mentioned every time, all of those points count. And one draw here or one draw there could be the difference at some point between being rank 8 or rank 9 or getting a more favorable position in those playoffs.
Exactly. It's all about getting as high as possible for those playoffs. We'll speak about it later on during the league, but the higher you get, the better seeding that you have and the less matches you technically need to play to then win a part of the €10,000 prize pool that is available for all of these players that are taking part right now. So there's still some work to be done for some of our players to catch up. You need to get into that top 8. And obviously we've seen right there at the moment, I think the barrier was around 3 points.
Yep.
Obviously, that's going to increase as we get further along, but I could probably imagine somewhere around the 12-point figure is probably somewhere where people are wanting to get to be a bit more secure in the league. Let's figure that out a little bit later. So, we can get to the stats exactly and work exactly where they need to be. But wow, that was League Day 2. And obviously, we want to hear all of your guys' feedback. Let us know in the chat who your favorite player of today was. Let us know exactly what you think is going to be coming. We've got next week matches already prepared, so we know who's going to be in next week. We're going to have Adri, Angel, Guts the Berserk from League Day number 1. And then from this League Day that just happened, Glorious, Nicer Smicer, and Tito Gofflet. So maybe a real opportunity for some of our players that are actually a little bit lower down the leaderboard to gather some points early. Say, what do you think of those lineups?
I definitely do like the lineup, actually, because all of the players that are at the top of the leaderboards, they're not playing. And all of the people at the bottom of the leaderboard, they're kind of bruising it out for saying, like, okay, who's going to take those higher points and join those guys at the top and then probably play against those at a later moment. But we also have something that you guys have all been waiting for, which is, of course, a coupon code.
Exactly. The coupon code is on the screen right now. It will be shared in the chat by our lovely CMs who are going to be giving it all to you. It is Swell on Wednesdays, and it's 1 mystical scroll and 200k mana. I'm not going to guarantee it, but there might be a nat 5 in that mystical scroll exactly for you. You're exactly the most wanted that you want. I recently got a Dominic from a random mystical scroll, and I loved it. So this is your chance. Make sure you're in the chat. You select it, get it through into the game, summon it. Let us know what you got if you got something crazy. Maybe you even got a Liesel. Who knows? That's part of the top units right now, right, Say?
Well, would it be part of one of the top units, or would it just be very well fitting for Samsep? I'm a statistical guy. If it's working for one person, it doesn't necessarily mean it's working for everyone. But it's definitely an interesting unit to look at. Like, let's say that you're saying, like, I don't have these and these units. I can't really make it work. Maybe you can actually look around at a Liesel or some other 4-stars that you do have and can make it work around.
Exactly. Play what you have as well as you can. If you've got anything to look at, have a look at some replays of those monsters. Learn exactly how people are using them. We've got incredible content creators like Say, like a Sean-B, like a Baba. Go and watch these guys play. See how they're using it and try and incorporate that into your own RTA. We want you guys not only to watch the RTA, but take part as much as you possibly can. I still need myself to get into C3, and I'm hoping you guys will get there soon and join me, and maybe you might face against me. If you're even higher than that, you're probably already facing against Say. Good luck with that.
Well, good luck with the players that actually played here today and the week last week, because those are the real players.
Exactly. That's it for us. We'll see you here next Wednesday, 8 o'clock, Say Shizu's channel, or if you're on the YouTube, Summoners War Europe. Thank you very much, Say, and we'll see you guys later.
See ya.